Coming up, the stadium roars as the Yankees deliver in the clutch. We'll recap what happened in the Bronx last night and everywhere else in baseball, too, as the AL East remains tight. And Dwayne Stats opens the Bud file on the 400 average, which, of course, there is nothing average about. This is another pennant race edition of Yankees Scorecard, live from the house that Ruth built in the Bronx. No matter who's counting the seats, it looks as though the stadium here today is destined to be filled. Game 4 of the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees, a series that has captured the imagination of New York. And today, the Yankees send Jimmy Key, their ace, to the mound, and the Toronto Blue Jays counter with Juan Guzman. It's a shame it has to come to an end, but this will be the last Blue Jays visit to the stadium this season. Hi, everybody. I'm Al Trautwig. Dwayne Stats and Tony Kubek will be along when our game coverage begins at 1 o'clock. The Yankees, after sending 7 pitchers to the mound in Game 2 of this series, really needed a great performance last night from Scott Kamieniecki. Battling a stomach virus, Kamieniecki gave the Yankees exactly that, and an important 6-2 victory over Toronto. We'll recap the game of last night. Of course, the Toronto Blue Jays think they have the pennant, perhaps. Well, Yankee fans said not so fast. Bottom of the 5th, no score. Mike Gallego is the first to solve Dave Stewart. A solo shot to left for Gallego, a 6th home run on the season. The Yankees a 1-0 lead. Top of the 6th, we move ahead. Rickey Henderson on first. Mike Stanley doing something he's never done, throwing out Rickey Henderson. Rickey had been successful in 24 straight tries against the Yankees. Bottom of the 6th, Paul O'Neill hangs in and serves a Stewart pitch to center. Boggs scores, 2-0 Yankees. Next batter, still with 2 out. Great patience at the plate by Bernie Williams. Loops one in front of Devon White. Danny Tartabull races home. Yankees 3-0 with the lead. Bottom of the 7th, 4-0. O'Neill comes through again, singling up the middle off of Tony Castillo. Boggs and Velarde scored. The stadium was rocking. 6-0 Yankees. Final out, Steve Farr gets Ed Sprague to fly out to Paul O'Neill. You can see emotion everywhere you looked in the stadium, including on the face of the captain himself. Yankees 6-2 winners last night here at the stadium. As a result, here's the American League East story brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers. The Blue Jays lead trimmed to 2. The Red Sox also won. We'll show you how in a moment. Baltimore 2. So it's 2 games out for Boston and the Yankees. Baltimore trailing by 4. One of the heroes of the game last night was Scott Kamieniecki, as I said. He lasted 7 1/3 before his stomach just said no more. He scattered 7 hits. 2 earned runs were charged. They were actually sent in on a hit off of Rich Monteleone. He came out of the bullpen in the 8th. He threw 106 pitches. He's now 7-3 and 6-0 at the stadium this season. And no man knows better than the man who caught him in last night's game.
Mike, you watched Scott Kamieniecki throw last night. Some people said that it's the best he's thrown since he started this string of great success on the mound. How would you rate it?
I think it's one of the top performances that he's had. He spotted the ball real well last night and got his breaking pitches over. Had an outstanding change, probably the best changeup he's had all year.
How much coddling did you have to do with him during the game because of how bad he felt?
Not too much. I didn't find out about it until about the 8th inning. You know, we went out there in the 8th inning and said he was sick. So he seemed to be fine all throughout the game.
Now, you finally found a way to throw out Rickey Henderson. Perfect throw, got him clean. Is that on your mind? Is there a little extra edge to you when you know he's out there?
Well, it's like that commercial where the guy is watching Rickey and he's sweating and needs a Tums or whatever he needs. You know, it's something that's eluded my career so far, not being able to throw out Rickey. I've made some good throws on him, but haven't gotten him. And you know, here's the best base runner in the game of baseball, and I was just happy I was able to finally get him.
Finally, it looked as though you got all of that ball that Devon White made a great running catch on. What are you thinking as that ball's heading toward him?
I'm thinking, why is he going after it? Because I thought I had hit it well enough to get out of the ballpark, and all of a sudden you could just see him start to time his steps a little bit. And I said, oh, no, he's going to try to make this play. And sure enough, it's an outstanding play by one of the best center fielders in the game.
Finally, you're going to get a rest today. Do you need it?
I'm not going to say I need it, but I'm not going to say that I'm glad that Matt's going to get a chance and hopefully perform for us.
Now, the other things that we'll be covering in Yankees scorecard, all the American League East highlights and scores in a moment. Dwayne Stats will analyze the .400 average, and of course we'll be watching John Olerud's pursuit of that, another episode of his chase to .400 today. And a little bit later, a focus on Scott Kamenicki. A roller coaster season it's been. Started out as a starter, went to the bullpen, had to refocus himself in Columbus, and now enjoys the fruits of all his hard work at a time when the Yankees really need him. Now, as I said, with Mike Stanley, he has the day off. Let's take a look at Buck Showalter's lineup today. Wade Boggs, then Deion James, Don Mattingly, Danny Tartable, the DH still. Paul O'Neill's really making a name for himself in right field with those bleacher bums. Bernie Williams, Matt Noakes, who's had 13 at-bats since June, gets the start behind the plate. Mike Gallego, Pat Kelly, and Jimmy Key at 12 and 4. Facing his old team, the Toronto Blue Jays, Ricky Henderson, then Devon White. Little switch, Paul Molitor and Roberto Alomar flip-flopping. Cito Gaston making that change for today. Joe Carter, cleanup. John Olerud hitting now .395. He's dropped 5 points since Tuesday night. Tony Fernandez, Ed Sprague, Pat Borders, and Juan Guzman with a record of 7-3. When we come back on Yankees scorecard, a major brawl. In the middle of it all, Nolan Ryan. Our good friend Jerry at the press gate making good on the Yankees' promise. It's water bottle day to all the kids, and there are a lot of them making their way to the Bronx today. Busy night in the major leagues last night. Of course, the Yankees continue to watch the scoreboard. Minnesota, Mo Vaughn remembering Reggie Lewis wearing number 35. Here's Scott Cooper lifting a fly down the left field line. Gene Larkin misses on the dive. Ivan Calderon scored. Cooper goes all the way to third. 1-0 Sox. Top of the fourth, it was 3-0 when Scott Fletcher sends one down the right field line. Kirby Puckett, who's out there these days, can't get it. Cooper scores. Fletcher with a triple. 4-0. Jeff Russell allowed a run in the ninth, but Brian Harper pops to Fletcher to end it. Sox go on to win and hang on the final 5-4 in the Metrodome. Aaron Seeley is now 6-0. What a performance he is turning in for the Red Sox. It started when Clemens went down, and he's just continued to turn it on. Milwaukee and Baltimore, another important American League East matchup. Mark McLemore bidding for the roof. Winds up just a bit short, but it's a home run nonetheless. His third. Orioles led it by the score of 2-1. Now we move to the bottom of the fifth. 4-1. Harold Reynolds doubles into the right field corner. Harold Baines and Cal Ripken Jr. score. The O's had a 6-1 lead, but they'd have to hang on. Bottom of the sixth. Mike Devereaux helps them do that, getting all of Cal Eldred's fastball. 8th home run for Devereaux. O's led it 8-1, and they needed every one of those runs because Milwaukee closed it up. But the Orioles win by the score of 8-6. 4 home runs in that game at Camden Yards. Detroit was at Cleveland Stadium. Fishing in the dugout does pay off once in a while. Bottom of the second, 3-0 Tigers. Felix Fermin doesn't go fishing, but chops one to the left of the mound. Paul Sorrento, hello. Mike Moore gets him at home. Top of the third, Travis Fryman belts his first of 2 home runs in the game. He has 15 on the year, so what if he drops the ball every once in a while? Tigers win 8-3. Mike Moore getting the victory. Howard had a home run to join Travis Fryman with his 2. Now Chicago and Texas, if you haven't seen it, check this out. Nolan Ryan hits Robin Ventura. Thinks about it, then goes for the legend Nolan Ryan. But Nolan, who's roped a few calves in his time, lands 6 punches, and then the Ventura headlock is broken with both benches emptying. After a while, it settled down, but it seems as though Gene Lamont did not settle down. You'll see in a moment, Ventura separated from the crowd. So was Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan wasn't ejected, but Ventura was. Bo Jackson in the middle of this. This was really ugly. And then you'll see Mickey Hatcher with a red badge of courage. And yes, there was a game, and yes, Nolan Ryan did hang on for the victory. Rangers over the White Sox in the American League West race, 5-2. One more game to look at. Seattle and Oakland, top of the fourth. Jay Buhner continuing to provide power. It was 3-1 Mariners, but then Ron Darling watched this one go over the left field wall. 20th of the season for Buhner. That gave the Mariners a 4-1 lead. But the A's rallied to tie it in the ninth, and you're not going to believe how this game changed. Mike Bordick hit by a pitch from Jeff Nelson that forced in Mike Aldrete with the winning run, and the A's beat Seattle by the score of 5-4. One more score in the American League, Kansas City and California. It's a 1-run decision that goes to Kansas City. Another good performance by David Cone. His record is now 8-2. 10. Jose Lean had a 7th-inning RBI single that was the difference in this game. Let's check the standings once again. Another look at the American League East. Toronto coming in at 63 up and 46 down. That's 2 games better than Boston and the Yankees. The Baltimore Orioles still right there. They'll be here at the stadium next week. 4 games out are the O's. Let's switch to the National League story now. I'm sorry, the American League West first. Chicago 4.5 is their lead over Kansas City. Texas 5.5 back, keeping it interesting. Seattle 7.5 back. Lou Pinella's got the pennant race thoughts working in Seattle. Now we'll switch to the National League. Philadelphia at the Atlanta Braves, top of the 5th. Braves led it by 1, but Pete Incaviglia does it again, taking Tom Glavine off the foul pole in right. It is the 5th for Incaviglia in 4 games. Phillies led at 5-3. Top of the 6th, Mariano Duncan drives one to the gap off of Steve Bedrosian. Schilling and Dykstra score. Phillies led at 7-4. Jim Fregosi had to like what he saw at that moment, but the joy did not last for long. Greg Olson had a 3-run home run in the 8th, and that was the difference. Atlanta beats Philadelphia 9-8. Mets at Montreal. See some guys who aren't totally, well, they're watching the Mets. Bottom of the 1st, Larry Walker lining a single over Jeff Kent. Delino DeShields scoring. Expos had the 1-0 lead. They got another one. It was 2-0 in the 3rd. Sid Fernandez gives up a solo home run to Larry Walker, his 14th. The Mets now 24-45 under Dallas Green as the Expos go on to win it by the score of 3-1. Unbelievable as it seems, the Mets are 30.5 games out of first place. Elsewhere in the National League, Orlando Merced's 2-run 8th-inning home run led the Cubs in a back-and-forth battle at Wrigley. The final, Chicago 6, Pittsburgh 5. San Francisco and San Diego. It goes to the Padres 11-10 in 12. Martinez over Hickerson. Barry Bonds, another home run. He now has 33. Cincinnati over Colorado 9-3. Chris Sabo had his 3rd grand slam to help power Cincinnati. Los Angeles over Houston 4-2. Dave Hansen's 2-run home run in the 7th was the difference. Luis Alicea had a grand slam too. St. Louis over Florida 10-2. Marlin pitchers walked 6 in a big Cardinal 3rd inning. Now the standings in the National League East, brought to you by Tri-State Ford dealers. Philadelphia's lead 6.5 over the Cardinals. Montreal 10 back. Chicago 13. Over the National League West, the San Francisco Giants are 7.5 in front of Atlanta. Los Angeles is 16 back. It's a 2-team race. If it is a race, things are going to have to change. For the Braves have been playing good baseball, but they can't be making up any ground. Back at the stadium now, the live look. The seats are beginning to fill up. It's an absolutely gorgeous day. Jimmy Key has his thoughts on starting for the Yankees. Juan Guzman has similar thoughts in starting for the Toronto Blue Jays. When we come back, the 400 average. How tough it is to do what Ted once did. Victory 6-2 over the Blue Jays. The Yankees still the only team in the American League not to lose 4 straight games. Jimmy Key will be on the mound today trying to help the Yankees win 2 straight for a series split. One of the men he'll try to stop today is John Olerud. And while Yankee pitchers have fared well against him in the past couple of games, he's been tough to stop. Here's Dwayne Stats.
It was in the summer of '41 when Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio made quite a mark in baseball history. DiMaggio captured the imagination of fans, hitting in 56 straight games, a feat which grows bigger as time goes on. Since then, Pete Rose came the closest to that mark. He put together a hit streak which lasted a month and a half, yet despite the incredible stretch, Rose still fell short of Joe D by 12 games. 5 years ago, Paul Molitor made a serious run at the hit streak record, yet he, like Rose, failed to come to within even 10 games to the now mythical 56 mark. The baseball world also took note in '41 as Ted Williams made his push to hit 400. Like DiMaggio's streak, many feel Williams' mark will never be reached again, although it was Ted himself who came close by hitting .388 at age 39. By the 70s, even Williams thought that Rod Carew might be able to hit 400. Carew, who like Williams was a student in the heart of hitting, hit .388 in '77 after being at or above 400 for most of the summer. 3 years years later, it was George Brett who made his assault. Brett was over 400 going into September before ending the season at 390, the highest mark since Ted Williams hit 406 in 1941. Little-known Broderick Perkins made quite a splash after early success and a prediction that it would be easy for him to hit 400. Yet despite that prediction, Perkins fell just a bit short and ended the 81 season at 280. Now in 1993, there's more talk of a possible 400 hitter and maybe even one in each league. John Olerud of the Blue Jays certainly has the swing to do it. And all you have to do is pick up the sports section of any newspaper to prove to yourself that he has the numbers to do it as well. But what might be getting lost in his drive for 400 is his numbers across the board, including numbers which would be the envy of cleanup hitters and leadoff men alike. Also lost in Olerud's drive for 400 would be his all-around play and his durability. After all, it was a brain aneurysm and surgery just 4 years ago that almost ended his baseball career before it ever got started. But it's the gaudy numbers and Williams-like swing which will be the focus for the next couple of months, maybe even getting more attention since the Blue Jays are in what could be the last great traditional pennant race. Yet whatever the outcome in his quest for 400, John Olerud has already given baseball fans a summer to remember.
You were with us yesterday. You remember Steve Hurt talking about John Olerud's on-base percentage. Coming into today's game, it's .497, so he'll be flirting with 500 down the stretch of this season, too. The remarkable thing that Steve relayed to us yesterday was that only 4 players in the history of baseball have ever been able to go to a 500 on-base percentage. Babe Ruth, Rogers Hornsby, Mickey Mantle, and Ted Williams. No matter where you look, what John Olerud is doing is flirting with some very select company. Now, last night, Scott Kamenicki had a great night when the Yankees needed it. He was in pain along the way, suffering from a stomach virus, dehydration. But when it was over, he was happy until he got to the parking lot. That story in a moment.
Stripe Heroes is brought to you by Dime, the bank you can call your own.
I don't like to go back and check to see what I've done because I might be wrong. I don't know. I think I did. People say that, you know, that you have a good record. Okay, well, if you say I do, then I must. I think I did just about everything that I wanted to do while I was there. You know, playing the World Series, I did that. Playing the All-Star game, I did that. Win some awards, I did that too. I just want to be remembered as a guy that did his job.
He's on the back page of every paper in town. Read all about it. Read all about Scott Kamenicki's heroics last night. Great on the mound, not so good in the clubhouse, and really sour when he got to the parking lot. So here we are where I last saw Scott Kamenicki in the parking lot here at Yankee Stadium. For a man who had such a great night, you were miserable last night. What happened?
Well, I wasn't feeling that well, and I came out in the parking lot, and my keys ended up somehow locked up inside the car, and I couldn't get in the car for about 45 minutes after the game.
And who exactly did that?
Well, I'm not supposed to say. I got in trouble for it last night.
She's in trouble already. Your poor wife. You were hard on her.
Well, she said I was hard on her. I was just upset, and I wasn't feeling too good. I wanted to get out of here. And
how did they finally get the car open?
They had about 2 guys, one from AAA and one from the police around here.
Who won?
I think the police did. I told them to go down about 2 blocks away, get a few kids, and they'd be in that car in 5 minutes. But they want to do it their way, and it took about 40 minutes, but they did the job. They got us out of there.
Now we know that some of the shots we took of you in the 5th and 6th inning, where you had your head hanging in the dugout in between innings. How sick were you?
I wasn't feeling that bad until about the 6th inning. Somehow I started getting hot all of a sudden, and I wasn't feeling that well. And we had a long 7th inning, so they tried to give me some stuff to calm it down. But when I went out there the 8th inning, I just wasn't right.
Yet you were still able to throw for most of the game that first pitch for a strike.
That's the key. You know, it's no secret up here. You got to get ahead of the guys up here and to set up your other pitches. And I was fortunate enough to make some good pitches early, and then when I got ahead, I put them away.
Aside from your wife locking the keys in the car and not feeling well last night, this is a pretty happy time, isn't it?
That's pretty good. It'd be a little better if we win this game today.
Scott, thanks.
You're welcome.
They almost almost had the airplane ticket for Columbus written with the name Kamenicki on it, but I don't think they'll be writing it in the near future. Scott Kamenicki feeling a little bit better today. The Yankees feel good about Jimmy Key on the mound and Juan Guzman as well. And those are the starting pitchers and what will be wrapped up today. As I look around Yankee Stadium, it really is a great sight. The stadium looks as though it'll be full today. The series will draw nearly 200,000 fans. It seems as though people who love baseball and see a winning thing happening are willing to do what it takes to come to the Bronx. Dwayne Staats and Tony Kubek are getting ready to call the game today on MSG. Yankees will take to the road. They're on their way to Minnesota, but not before the Blue Jays and the Yankees play this one out today at the stadium. I'll see you in innings 4 and 5, and then, of course, on the post-game report with Michael Kay and all the highlights.
Yankees Magazine, after Sports Desk, Saturday at 7, here on MSG Network.
There's a drive, deep to right.
He saved the shutout.
It is Strider. There's a drive. It's deep to left. Drive deep to right. Way back. 3, 2, 1, gone. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, the New York Yankees meet the Toronto Blue Jays. Pitching for Toronto, Juan Guzman, and on the mound for the Yankees, Jimmy Key. A beautiful afternoon for baseball as the Yankees and the Blue Jays wrap up their series. Last night, the Yankees faced what is the closest they've come this year to a must-win situation. And Mike Gallegos' 6th home run of the year opened the scoring in the 5th inning when he hit a 3-1 pitch out off Dave Stewart. The Yankees added 2 in the 6th and capped their offense with a 3-run 7th inning. 2 of those runs scoring on this base hit to center by Paul O'Neill as the Yankees went on to post a 6-2 victory over the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Yankees start the day running 3rd percentage points back of Boston and 2 games back of the first place Toronto Blue Jays. Hi again, everyone. I'm Dwayne Staats. Nice to have you with us, and we hope you enjoy the afternoon of Yankee baseball, and it is a lovely day in the Bronx. Well, the victory last night for the Yankees, just their 3rd against this Toronto Blue Jay ball club. They're 3-6 against Toronto, and as we look at the Eastern Division, more and more it appears the Yankees are going to have to win it head-to-head. The contenders so far against each other, well, no surprise, the Blue Jays have dominated 18-7. The Yankees 6 under 500, 8-14 against the other contenders, the Red Sox and the Orioles, likewise chasing the Toronto Blue Jays. More times than not, it comes down to pitching. That's been the case again this year. A look at the starters' ERA finds the Red Sox in good shape at 3.66, the Yankees at 4.12, and the Blue Jays even back of Baltimore when it comes to starting pitching. Today, the Yankees have Jimmy Key on the mound, and earlier, Tony Kubek talked with Yankee pitching coach Tony Cloninger about the pitching.
All right, thanks, Dwayne. Tony, pitching becomes more and more important as the season winds down with a little more than 50 games to play. Outstanding outing from Kamenicki yesterday. Jim Abbott seems on the beam. Today you've got your ace of the staff thus far, Jimmy Key. What kind of comments do you have about his performance so far this year and coming into today?
Well, Jimmy's just been outstanding all year long. You know, he uses both sides of the plate. He changes speeds off of his sinker. You know, he has one of the best changeups in the league. He has a good curveball. He has a good slider, and he's able to pitch inside to right-handers and go away from right-handers. He uses his slider to left-handers more than he does his curveball. Occasionally he'll throw it, but more sliders to the left-handers. And the key to him is, you know, keeping the running people off base, which if they do get on base, he still has a good move. He's just a quality athlete and has been a plus for us all season long.
Tony, just a short while ago in right center field, I saw you with Melito Perez, and he was long tossing. What is his prognosis? Will he be ready to pitch this weekend, or will it be somebody else? We've heard Domingo John even, who's at the AAA level.
Well, we're not sure who's going to pitch Sunday yet. You know, there's been just some discussion of what you've just talked about. But as far as Melito goes, you know, I don't think he's too far away from pitching. The one thing that was encouraging when we were tossing in the outfield was that he was able to extend his arm and keep it up top instead of his feeling like his arm was locked, you know, and not being able to follow through. So it was very encouraging.
Tone, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Dwayne?
All right, Tony. It will be Juan Guzman for Toronto, Jimmy Key for the Yankees, and we'll be back following this.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your Bud. By your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. By AT&T, the best in the business. And by Nobody Beats the Wiz. For state-of-the-art home electronics, computers, cameras, music, movies, and more, nobody beats the Wiz.
Enthusiastic crowds throughout this series, and a big house again this afternoon. 83 degrees, and the forecast calls for sunny skies as the Yankees send Jimmy Key to the mound against his former teammates, the Toronto Blue Jays. The Yankees start the day 2 games back of Toronto, and as they hit the road for the weekend series against the Twins in Minnesota, they're hopeful of being just a game back of this Toronto club. Jimmy making his 24th start. He has 3 complete games, 12 wins, and 4 defeats. And here's the lineup he'll be facing this afternoon, presented by 7-Eleven. Blue Jays have Ricky Henderson again leading off, with Devon White hitting second. Paul Molitor goes up into the 3rd spot as the DH. Carter remains the cleanup hitter with Olerud 5th, and Roberto Alomar now down in that 6th spot. Fernandez, Sprague, and Borders will round out Cito Gaston's starting lineup this afternoon.
One of the real pluses, I think, Dwayne, for this Yankee ball club defensively has been those 2 guys in the middle of the diamond, Gallego and Kelly. Their quickness is shown turning double plays. They even turned one on Devon White earlier in this series.
Well, the Yankees were winners last night as Gallego keyed not only the defense along with Pat Kelly, but it was Mike's home run in the 5th inning that got the Yankee bats started, connecting for the 6th time this year. Ricky Henderson joining this Toronto ball club in time for Tuesday's game, so this will be his 3rd appearance in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform. And he's had a lot of success, I'll tell you, against Jimmy Key, Tony.
Well, I think a benchmark of a slugger is slugging percentage. Just this season versus left-handed pitcher, Ricky's slugging percentage is 800 as opposed to 476 against right. You want to cut a running game down? Jimmy Key cuts a running game down with his great move and his dekes, but boy, he will have the running game cut down even further when you look at what they've done to the base pass today.
There you go.
Little winner right there.
That's all part of the home field advantage. Just a little wet around first base.
And it might cut the long strides going 1st to 3rd or scoring from 2nd base for the Devon White, the Alomars, or the Hendersons, or the Fernandezes.
Ricky Henderson in there. Jimmy Key set to go to work, and the first pitch of the ball game is a ball. Tim McClellan is calling the balls and strikes. Henderson starting this contest at 329. There's a strike. Henderson with 8 home runs off Jimmy Key for his career.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a field day up in the Sky Dome when the Oakland Athletics played Toronto in the League Championship Series against Flanagan and Key.
This one is down.
And Jimmy will try and
2-1.
stay away from hard stuff to him. And you can see bounces a breaking ball. Now Henderson with a little edge.
Henderson almost 400 lifetime. Mattingly way off the bag at first, and Henderson gets it through the left side. Deion James returns the ball to the infield, so Henderson, who opened the ball game last night with a line single through the hole, comes up with a base hit through the left side
He
today.
got a fastball. Did you see Wade Boggs' first step? His first step, his foot gave way, so the wet infield dirt can hurt you defensively a little bit too. See what Wade does. Right there, a little bit of a skid rather than one quick crossover step.
Now Devon White. And the pitch is in there for a strike. White shaking his head, thought the pitch might be low.
And we've seen all year long, even early on when Jimmy Key was blowing everybody away, April, May, that the umpire does come into play when he is on the mound. Slide step.
And a foul ball out of play. That runs the count to 0-2. Leadoff single by Ricky Henderson. There he is, Mattingly holding him. And over to first, Henderson back in.
And Joe Brinkman, the first base umpire, watching Jimmy Key very closely, getting a beat on what he does with his right foot. Jimmy will take the right knee and go to the outfield side, but not the foot. When the foot goes back, he's got to go home.
And a little tap third base side. That's going to be foul. Holding the count at 2 strikes. Well, the Yankees caught Henderson running last night in the 6th inning after he had opened with a base hit. And that very well could have been a key development in the ball game. The Yankees had taken a 1-0 lead on Gallegos' home run, and Henderson followed with a leadoff single in the 6th. Was thrown out trying to steal for the first out of the inning.
There's got to be some sign going back and forth between Mattingly and Key so that when Mattingly doesn't get picked up. Key's move is so good. If Mattingly's moving off the bag and Key throws, it might go into the tarp. So they've got some kind of nonverbal communication going.
Very close. White taking the pitch in off the plate. And it's 1-2.
Jimmy Key again, he has a great facility. Steve Carlton had it where Koosman had it. He can freeze that runner, not even pick up the home plate area until he's almost with his arm going forward.
And White is out on strikes. White, the first strikeout posted by Jimmy Key. Here's another look.
Almost every pitch with Ricky Henderson on has been the slide step. Some pitchers can't do it. Jimmy Key loses no effectiveness.
So White is out of there with Henderson aboard, and that's going to bring along Paul Molitor, the designated hitter. Molitor with the change in the Toronto lineup with Henderson joining this club and White dropping down to second. Molitor had gone down into the order to hit 6th. He's 3rd today. And the pitch is too low.
And the move by Cito Gastaden dictated by batting average and slugging percentage. Alomar hitting just .238 this year against left-handers, so Cito puts a guy who's lifetime .400. Molitor in the 3rd spot. What versatility he's got.
And the bunt. So the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. AT&T, the best in the business, salutes Paul Molitor, the best in the game. Across the board when it comes to DHs, runs, 109 hits.
Remember, he's replacing a
Total
guy,
bases as well.
Dave Winfield, who drove in over 100 runs, too. They said he could not be replaced. Molitor's done a pretty good job.
Takes this one wide. And overall, he's 6th in the league in hitting. .290 against Key. 2-1 the count. And up the right side, foul. Just outside the line. The count goes to 2-2. Well, the last first inning home run allowed by Jimmy Key came in August of '92 against Paul Molitor. It covers 30 starts. Molitor with 15 this year.
Saw Devon White trying to go the other way, and you see Molitor just missing the other way, and that's why Jimmy Key using the inside of the cutter. That pitch is so important to him. See if Noakes stays away or he comes in.
And he got him. Molitor strikes out. Key changed speeds on him. That ball moving down and away.
We saw a great changeup last night from Scott Kamenicki. You just saw another great changeup, the circle change that Key got Molitor with.
2 strikeouts in the first. 2 gone following the leadoff single by Henderson, and here's Joe Carter. Pitch is up to him, ball 1. Carter tied for 5th in the league in runs batted in with 83. His average may not always be among the leaders. 254 starting play today, but he can drive in the runs. This one off the plate in. Very close.
Jimmy Key asking a home plate umpire or his catcher, was it called too low or was it called for being inside? He's trying to feel out Tim McClellan what he's going to give him. McClellan, a big guy. Some say he doesn't give pitchers the low pitch.
Carter ahead in the count. And Key stays away, missing.
Now Jimmy feels out the outside corner, and he sees that's another area. Remember, I think we talked about this the day before yesterday. Drew Coble was in this rotation till he went on a vacation. McClellan came in yesterday. Coble, known to be somewhat of a pitcher's umpire.
There's a strike, and the count is 3-1, and it shows up not only in the walked innings pitched ratio, and of course Key has been very good in that department, but how Key can go about attempting to set up hitters, whether he can get a pitch on one of the corners or the low strike. 3-1 the count. He changed up on Carter for strike 2. Snapped out to first.
Mattingly gave Ricky Henderson a little different look. He actually played slightly behind him on a 3-1 count. What's that? He's not really holding him on. He's giving Ricky a little room. Ricky false starts.
So full count on Joe Carter. With 2 outs, Henderson will be off with this pitch. There he goes. The pitch is fouled out of play. Blue Jays.
Go ahead, Dwayne. Sorry.
Oh.
It was almost a good news, bad news scenario for Jimmy Key when the 4 umpires went out for the opening game of this series on Monday. Jimmy said, man, the rotation is Drew Coble. The bad news came when he found out he's going on 2 weeks vacation before Jimmy's turn came up today.
Yep, McClellan popped in at first base last night, working the plate this afternoon. Full count. And a bounding ball foul down the third base side, and as we discussed that, it has nothing, no reflection on the job McClellan's going to do behind the plate, but I think it's commonly accepted that there are some umpires that establish what a strike zone is, and it's going to differ a little bit from another umpire.
But pitchers and catchers do study that.
Yes, they do.
It's part of their livelihood.
3-2 the count. And a fly ball into right. Here comes O'Neill, and Paul makes the catch to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit. With the man left on base, and we'll head into the bottom of the first. No score. Back at Yankee Stadium, Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays wrapping up the series. And 26-year-old right-hander Juan Guzman out of the Dominican Republic makes his 23rd start. He was a 16-game winner last year, 7-3 this year, but the earned run average is better than .430.
He had 5 atrocious outings, talking to Galen Cisco, his pitching coach, where he got beat around pretty good, some of them early, so the ERA may be deceptive. Plus, the 1-loss record. You look at, sometimes it's more important, Galen Cisco made this point, of the games that Guzman has started, the ball club is 17-5 this year. He's had a lot of no decisions. He's got great stuff. Oh, man.
Here's the 7-11 lineup for the Yankees. Wade Boggs again leading off, followed by Deion James and Don Mattingly. Danny Tartabull, the designated hitter. Paul O'Neill in right, with Bernie Williams in the 6th spot playing center field. Matt Noakes doing the catching, batting 7th, followed by Mike Gallego at short. And the Yankee second baseman Pat Kelly bats 9th. Here's the defensive setup for the Toronto Ball Club.
We talk about that speed. It is the constant on this ball club. Borders will really have to be down on his knees with Guzman bouncing a lot of pitches, throwing wild pitches. You ask hitters who's got the liveliest arm in the league, many of them will say Juan Guzman.
That's why one of the reasons Guzman has 19 wild pitches this year.
I don't know if he'll challenge the guy who's got the American League record on his team, Jack Morris, who's thrown all those fork balls with the Tigers.
Well, he's got a good shot. He's got a couple months to go. Here's Wade Boggs. And the first pitch comes in a little tight and high, ball 1. And Jack Morris, the American League record with 24. So Guzman with 19 of those wild pitches. Upstairs. 2 balls, no strikes.
What do you think he's come out of the bullpen the first 2 pitches? About 95?
Yeah.
He's got a great slider. You throw that fork ball.
Well, that gives you some change of speed. To contrast, there's a strike and the count is 2-1.
There's some days Guzman's stuff is so good. He can have control problems, as you said, where he can go with just 2 pitches and get a lot of good hitters out.
Foul ball, that's out of play to square the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Guzman lifetime against the Yankees 2-1. No record this year against them. He made 28 starts last year, going 16-5 with a 2.64 earned run average. Boggs fouls it out of play. And a large part of that success had to do with pretty good control. He had improved it. This year he's already walked 75 and just over 140 innings. So the control has been a little bit of a problem at times.
But he's got an equalizer at times. That's big strikeout pitches.
Full count. Last year, for an example, he'd walked fewer hitters, 72, and over 180 innings. 165 strikeouts last year.
Well, his hits to innings pitcher up too. Kind of unusual for a guy with this stuff, but he pitches deep in the count and he's got to come to hitters at times.
Well, out of play. Yeah, his ratio of hits allowed to innings pitched last year were phenomenal. He gave up only 135 hits and better than 180 innings. This year he's actually given up a little over a hit per inning. Full count to Boggs. Wade fouls another one out of play.
Would you say this is a typical Wade Boggs lead off at bat?
Yep.
Start of the game, let everybody on the bench, Deion James on deck, and Mattingly sitting on the bat rack, getting a look at all of the pitches. Donnie gauging the speed, watching the movement.
And a strikeout. Some movement on that pitch. Boggs strikes out to open the Yankee first. Look at that pitch down.
A little different action. He may have gone with the seams to make it get a little tailing, sinking action after high riding 4-seamers.
Now Deion James. First pitch is a strike on the inside corner.
And he starts him off with a slider.
Deion out in front there, and boy, you talk about seeing something different. changing not only the speed but the general location, and he had James way out in front.
And we saw when Wade Boggs was fouling off those pitches, he couldn't quite catch up to the Guzman's fastball. He was late, so that's what Dion was watching. And what does he do? He throws him 2 off-speed pitches.
And a base hit for James into left center field off an 0-2 pitch. Henderson with a pickup, and Dion, who was hitless last night, comes back with a base hit his first time up today. So he's been red hot despite the 0 for last night.
How great a hand-eye coordination do you have to have with Dion James doing what he just did?
So Dion's aboard. And here's Don Mattingly.
One guy that you may be not able to throw a fastball by.
This one inside, snapped down to first, and Dion is back in. Pat Porter is behind the plate. See James to the backside of the bag getting in.
I mean, we've seen Randy Johnson try and throw hard stuff by Mattingly. He can't. If he can, I don't know who can.
Down to the average at 313. 380 over his last 40 games. So Mattingly, as the Yankees have moved into this race, has been right there for them. Two balls, no strikes. Five of 12 lifetime against Guzman.
And a good chance 2-0. Don's going to see his fastball right here.
Up and away. So Guzman down 3-0. One on, one out. And a strike call by Tim McClellan. 3-1.
We saw Stewart do that yesterday early in the game. Even when he got behind the left-hand hitters, he still shot the outside corner, took a chance that they'd be over anxious. They've had good stuff. And then all of a sudden he started walking guys and it was gone.
Yeah, he left with the bases loaded, and the line, as it turns out, 6 runs in 6 1/3 innings against Stewart last night. All of those runs scored. Mattingly takes strike 2.
Well, Don was taken all the way, 3-1.
So a full count.
There's a little fastball that he turned over on Wade Boggs to get him with the seam, so he changes the look a little bit.
All moving down and away again. Movement low.
Looked like it moved out of the strike zone to me.
3-2. Runner's going, and the pitch is fouled into the stands back of third. So the Yankees had Dion James on the move. 3-2 with 1 out here in the first. We've had some great intensity in this series from the pitchers, players, the fans. Another great house today.
Donnie wants another bat, I think. He keeps talking to Tartabolt. Well, I guess he's going to stick with that one.
Long set by Guzman. Runner goes, and the pitch stroked into left center field. That ball is going to be in there for extra bases. All the way to the wall. James will score, and Mattingly puts the Yankees out in front. A 2-base hit for Mattingly. 1-0 Yankees. Don Mattingly with the runner breaking. That's his 19th double, his 52nd run batted in.
2 statements made, I believe. First of all, Buck Showalter starting Dion James 3-2 after Boggs had struck out, saying, hey, look, we think we can hit your fastball. Mattingly makes the other one, cuts his swing down, and hits a gapper.
here's the Yankee designated hitter, Danny Tartabull. Tartabull hitting .263 for the year. And the pitch is in at the knees for a strike.
Dwayne, how much do you think Mattingly's presence, being able to uplift his level for just that at bat, means to a ball club? As you head
it
toward
means
the stretch?
everything. Yeah, absolutely.
It can change the attitude of the entire team, I think, and I guess that's why he's the captain.
2 strikes the count. And there's no accident that as the Yankees have become a big part of this race, Mattingly over the last month and a half since coming back off the DL has been a solid part of this offense. This one is a little high, and it started, you know, there had just started to be a little discussion about Donnie in that number 3 spot. Questions to Buck Showalter as to whether he would move him out of that spot. Well, that lasted about a day and a half, and Mattingly has answered that question. The 1-2. And strike 3 call on the inside corner. Tartabull moving away from the pitch, thought it was in. Caught the corner, says Tim McClellan.
This is a nasty slider. I think Danny thought it was too low. No wonder slider. Watch the way Borders catches. Some umpires say, hey, look, if you catch it with the palm up, an indication to go get it, it was too low. It goes right in the area of the knees.
Yep. And I think it was above the knees, but maybe off the plate end from Tartabull's perspective. A strike, says Tim McClellan. 2 gone. And here's Paul O'Neill. O'Neill leaning away from that pitch. Ball 1. Paul had 3 runs batted in last night, a big RBI in the 6th, and then chased home 2 in the 7th. He hit a forkball in the 6th inning off Dave Stewart. Pitch that was not too bad. Fastball up. 2-0. Yankees with a first inning run to break out in front.
And from Boggs is at bat, even though he struck out, they forced Guzman to throw a lot of pitches in this first inning.
The 2-0. Low, ball 3. Paul, the 4th leading hitter in the league.
There's Lou
Got the Brock umbrella, yeah. Prepared for this sunny day. Ground ball down to first, and Olerud will make the play unassisted. So O'Neill swinging 3-0, grounds out. The Yankees are finished in the first, but they pick up the first run of the ball game on a couple hits. Mattingly's double, chasing home James. At the end of 1, Yankees 1, Toronto 0. This copyrighted telecast, authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees, solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and Madison Square Garden Network is prohibited. John Olerud leading off, and the first pitch from Jimmy Key is too close. Ball 1. Olerud at .395. 20 home runs. There's a strike. The count is 1-1. On the GMC truck batting leaders board, Olerud topping the list, well ahead of Juan Gonzalez, Ricky Henderson third.
Molitor in that top echelon.
2-1 the count. Now the Blue Jays are all over the league leaders. Ground ball and through the right side. He got it past Mattingly and Kelly and into right field for a base hit. So Olerud, who had a base hit last night in 4 at-bats, picks up a single his first time up this afternoon.
Jimmy Key was over to cover. He's one of the best getting over, and the ball just scooped beneath the glove of Madley, and then also Pat Kelly. And you wonder how a guy could be hitting 395 who is a very slow runner. People forget that when Ted Williams came out, he could run pretty well. It was a big loping stride. Not that Ted beat out a lot of base hits, but had a heck of a lot better chance than John Olerud.
Here's Alomar. He throws his bat at the pitch, fouls the pitch, and the bat winds up behind Boggs down at third for a strike.
Roberto swings at that pitch almost as if it's a hit and run, yet John Olerud wasn't on the move. Great change.
Olerud now with that base hit up to 397. Alomar, 238 from the right side, and a base hit into center field. So the Blue Jays come right back and put the first two men on. Singles by Olerud and Alomar.
We saw a similar swing like this a couple nights ago against Steve Howe, and Steve came in threw him a fastball. It's almost like he's a defensive hitter from the right side as opposed to the left. Look a little bit opposite to what Bernie Williams was before the All-Star break. He's just trying to put it in play, and he goes with it nicely.
Here's Tony Fernandez. Fernandez at 299.
Cito Gaston, when he was the hitting instructor before he, of course, became the manager, helped Tony Fernandez from the left side. At one time, Tony's a natural right-handed hitter. Tony was a better right-handed hitter. He's always had a pretty good average, but now he's become better from the left side.
He lost a couple bats last night, a couple of broken bats. He bunts. The runners will advance as Boggs throws out Fernandez. Olerud into third and Alomar up to second as Fernandez gets credit for the sacrifice. Boggs to Mattingly.
When Bobby Cox and then Jimmy Williams managed before Cito Gaston, they rarely sacrificed. Cito found, 2 years ago, he started doing it more. He was in the same mode of Cox and Jimmy Williams, but they struggled with their offense a couple of years ago. He's put in a few more hit and runs and more sacrifices. But when you got a guy like Sprague with his RBI count hitting the 8th spot, you get some runners in scoring position.
And the first pitch to Sprague is in there for a strike. Yeah, he's hitting 8th with 50 runs batted in.
And he's really slowed down over the last month.
That's right. So it's a compliment to Sprague by Cito Gaston to have these two men bunted into scoring position. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the Blue Jays feel that Sprague eventually is going to be a much better run producer than he already is.
And I think you made the point the first telecast we had that with Larry Heisel trying to get him to take some pitches the other way, it should cut down his strikeouts, should help his run production. There's so many pitchers like Key who do work the outside corner.
There's Larry Heisel. He's very soft-spoken. Makes his point, however, gets it across.
See his
Detailed man.
Son taking BP a couple days. Big kid. Great basketball player.
Ground ball. Shortstop. Gallego knocks it down. Still has a play. Out at first for the run scoring. Olerud scores. Sprague, who does not possess great speed, is thrown out.
Mike Gallego does this with quickness. He got a quick first step to knock it down first to keep it from going through. And then, like a cat, he pounces on it. Looked almost like out of the corner of his eye he was looking home, and then he still gets Sprague with an accurate throw and a good stretch by Mattingly. They've been fun to watch. Gallego and Pat Kelly in the middle.
Sprague, the second out, getting credit for his 51st run batted in. And now Pat Borders takes one to low and in. Borders, the catcher, the number 9 hitter. So John Olerud, who opened the inning with a single, has scored. Roberto Alomar is still at second. A 2-ball, no strike count.
Yeah, and Jimmy Key knows who's next. There is a base open, but not, some leadoff hitters might say, look, the guy's not a run producer. Let's pitch around Borders. Not a great hitter, but he likes to hit in these kind of situations.
Runner's going. A pitch low and outside, or nope, it was on the corner for a strike. And Alomar steals third. And that's something that he does quite often. His 36th stolen base of the year.
Used to be taboo, but heck, when you're certain of it, as Alomar is, and he picked the right pitch, off-speed pitch.
That's his 7th steal of third base.
A little added pressure on the defense. You've got to feel the ball cleanly now, knowing that guy will score if it's an infield hit or an error.
Chop to the right side for Pat Kelly, who throws out Borders, and that retires the side. A run, couple of hits with a man left, and we're headed into the bottom of inning 2. Toronto 1, Yankees 1. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by your Tri-State quality Ford dealers, who are winning back America with 5 of the top 10 bestsellers. See your Ford dealer and see for yourself. Bottom of inning 2 from Yankee Stadium. Yankees with the first inning run, and the Blue Jays answer with a run of their own in the second. The Yankees face 26-year-old right-hander Juan Guzman.
Brian, we talked about that steal of third by Alomar, and I'm not saying Whitey Herzog pioneered that play, but he was the first I saw use it extensively. One of the reasons you use it also is to move the third baseman. You got a hitter like Borders up, and Boggs comes over to cover. You open that left side up, and the ball might go through.
Well, Alomar has been a good one at it. And here's Bernie Williams to start the Yankee half of inning 2. Takes the pitch for a ball.
One of those plays where they used to say, that's bad baseball, you're ready in scoring position. But then when you start checking it out and the things that can happen or might happen, you see it's not a bad percentage play with a guy like Alomar, Ricky, and maybe a few others.
Yeah, it depends on the personnel involved. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. But ultimately, I guess more times than not, it always comes down to personnel involved somehow. Yeah. If you got the horses, you got a chance. The rest of the time, play the game as straight as you can. Try to get the percentages in your favor. There's a foul ball.
And usually when two teams like this meet this close in the standings at this time of the season, many people pull their horns in. Cito's not really what you... He's more of a conservative manager. He doesn't really overmanage. Buck sometimes will use a lot of players, a lot of pitchers the other night.
Off the end of the bat, squib to third. Sprague's throw is in time.
Well, that guy showed us something in this series at third base. Had a play made on O'Neill to finish the game the other night. There was a bullet to his left, and now he glides to the line. He's got a terrific throwing arm. That's why he was thought of as a catcher more than an infielder, even up till last year. He plants like a shortstop. Doesn't take the little crow hop. He knows who's running. Bernie from the left side. That's a nice play to leadoff hitter.
So Williams is retired, and here's Matt Noakes. Mike Stanley finally getting a day off, and Noakes finally gets a chance to get a few at-bats.
Getting reacquainted with the batter's box, huh?
Guzman throws one by him, strike one. Matt with 9 home runs. He last started on the 24th of July. Off the plate in. The count is now 1 ball, 1 strike.
See the first moves of some of these Yankee hitters. Boy, they're starting to really try and get the bat out in a hurry.
Ball foul outside of first, running the count to 1-2, and that in combination with that off-speed pitch, when he throws that, you can see a lot of weakly hit ground balls down off the end of the bat.
Yeah, he tried to establish that fastball to the first hitter, Boggs, to force the Yankees to start their bats earlier and then hope the forkball and slider to be more effective.
Too low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Another great crowd, isn't it? I don't know if this is going to be bigger than last night. Was it 48 plus last night?
48,250 last night, and boy, it appears to be
It's got to be close
bigger
to
than
50.
last
Wow.
night.
You know, we're talking here for 4 games, almost 200,000 or thereabouts.
Pushing it. Full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
When you're sitting up in those corners, yeah, there are a few empty seats out there and some in the bleachers in left center. Kids are back. School's out. Nice day game.
Matt stays alive with a foul ball. So the count holding right there at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
What do you think Boston will be like?
Oh.
After the Minnesota series?
There's a group of youngsters right there.
That's what Wade Boggs was saying to Paul O'Neill. Before the ball game, Paul said, man, this crowd, I can't believe. He said, he played World Series. He said, you talk about noisy and loud, and Wade, sitting 2 lockers down, said, wait till the Red Sox get here.
Yeah, Paul was saying the crowd comes not only to watch, but they're part of the game. 3-2 again. And Noakes draws the walk. Guzman looking for the corner, but didn't get it. And the Yankees have a base runner with 1 out. That brings up
Wow.
Gallego.
Is that a tough slider to take? Matt was sitting all over a fastball. And, ooh, he was fooled, and it was close.
Gallego hitting .296 now. Guzman up a notch there. Strike 1.
And look how lively that pitch was, too.
Six home runs for Gallego on the year. Started the scoring last night for the Yankees when he connected against Dave Stewart. This one is down, and the count is 1-1. And the key, Gallego hitting ahead in the count. He had 3 hits last night, and every time he was up in the count.
He has hit a few good breaking balls in this series. I mean, really tough pitches.
1-1 here. Upstairs. 2 balls and a strike. Game tied at 1. Yankees with a run on the first. Blue Jays scored 1 in the second inning.
Guzman always, well, not always, many times gives that hitter the ultimate challenge. Hey, behind, here's my fastball. I got to throw it to you, hit it. And more often than not, he comes out ahead.
2-1. Gallego fouls it back. 2-2. Well, we've seen Guzman already in the first couple innings rear back and reach for something extra on a couple pitches.
It's the kind of liveliness in an arm. They talk about a lively bat. Well, he's got a lively arm, the kind that you try and scout. Pitcher who can miss some bats.
And a swing and a miss. Gallego's out of there. That's 3 strikeouts for Guzman.
I mean, you're almost helpless at times, as hard as he throws, when he pulls this out of his back pocket.
Well, not only the off speed when he comes in with a forkball, but that fastball, he can get such movement on it. We've seen the fastball move down, and he can ride it up a little bit. Galen Cisco was saying, I think earlier this year, he's the kind of pitcher that a catcher can't really be too fine giving him the target on the corner. He's to give him a target down the middle and see what happens with the movement on some of his pitches.
Let the stuff take over. You know, I've talked to Guzman over the last couple of years, and I've talked about his forkball, and he says, I don't throw forkball. He says, I throw a changeup that moves all over. And you watch him in his 8 warm-up pitches, and he never shows forkball.
Yeah.
What are those pitches then? Is that a changeup that moves like that?
The 1-0 pitch. 1-1.
It was darn poor 8th and 9th place. And they always bring out their best stuff against them, don't they? Gallego and now Pat Kelly. Or it seems that way.
Up this time, and Kelly swings through it. The count is a ball and 2 strikes. You're right. When you talk about scouting reports on Guzman, you list that changeup and put a little star by it. Such a good pitch for him, but he's got that forkball-like action on it. And Kelly is out on strikes. 4 strikeouts for Guzman. No runs, a walk, and a man left. We're through 2 this afternoon with the Blue Jays and the Yankees tied 1-1. Yankees Blue Jays tied 1-1 as we move into the 3rd. Remember now, when you're having good times with good friends, drink responsibly, because friends know when to say when. A reminder from your friends at Budweiser. A beautiful day for baseball this afternoon at Yankee Stadium. Big crowd on hand. The official listed capacity at Yankee Stadium better than 57,000, 57,545. The listed capacity as Ricky Henderson takes the first pitch. A little off-speed breaking ball over for a strike. And as you look around, you just don't feel there's any way the Yankees could miss having 50 here today. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I would guess there's a, well, I don't know if the word is huge, but quite a Dominican contingent with Juan Guzman pitching and Tony Fernandez. When they had George Bell and Manny Lee and the others, man, those right field bleachers used to be just packed with people from the George Washington High School area, in that area.
2 balls and a strike. Top of the order, Henderson, followed by White, and Molitor hitting 3rd today. There's a strike to square it.
Jimmy Key pretty much called his own game. He just shook off a Matt Noakes pitch. Perhaps a fastball or change went to the curveball. But you look at the ERAs with Noakes and Stanley catching Key, not too much difference.
Now, they're pretty evenly divided, not only in ERA, but in terms of the numbers of innings that Noakes has been behind the plate with Key out there as compared to Stanley. And ball 3 just missing.
You might find that a Jimmy Key perhaps will, with his method of adding and subtracting, the rubs, either the chest or the leg, might differ with some of the calls by Noakes, but that's true of a lot of catchers and pitchers.
3-2 and a 1-hop shot out of the reach of Gallego and through into left. Henderson is on base again. So Henderson, 2 for 2 today, continues his hot hitting against Jimmy Key. Better than 400 lifetime.
Well, Jimmy Key's been compared in some ways to the Hall of Famer Whitey Ford, and Jimmy Key's got to be thinking, gee, I can't get Ricky Henderson out. Whitey Ford couldn't get guys like Cal Neiman out. Jim Lemon, who's a big right-handed power hitter. I mean, those guys come up and get him with a couple home runs a ball game. Something about the delivery that he becomes your cousin.
Breaking ball over for a strike to Devon White. Key with a little bigger break on that one than he started Henderson with when he got out in front of him. But Henderson worked the count to 3-2 and picked up the single. Into right field for Paul O'Neill, who's there to make the catch. 1 out in the 3rd.
Well, left-handed starters have had pretty good success against the Blue Jays this year. Alomar weak from the right side, Devon White weaker, Tony Fernandez weaker. Not only you cut the running game down, then you got John Olerud, who is not, still a good hitter, but not the same kind of hitter. So you depend on the Molitors and the Joe Carters and the Spragues to hurt Jimmy Key and the Hendersons, of course. But it swings a little in your favor when you can throw a left-hander out against the Toronto Blue Jays.
And more as the race stacks up and you look at what the Blue Jays have done against other teams in the American League. If the Yankees are are going to do anything here and overtake Toronto. There's a strike. It would appear they're going to have to do it themselves, because the Blue Jays, for an example, had a little trouble with Detroit. They're 5-6 against the Tigers. Only 2 games left with them. They had some problems with Kansas City and Texas, but they're finished with them for the year.
But they've got to make that Western swing.
And
the Yankees are done with it.
That's right. Milwaukee and Cleveland inside the division. The next 2 closest teams that they've had a semblance of trouble with, and yet they have winning records against Cleveland and Milwaukee. So the Blue Jays have played pretty well against the Western Division teams, the teams on that West Coast, and yet they still have to make that trip. So the Yankees head-to-head are going to have to make some headway against this Toronto Blue Jay club. This one wide.
Toronto's 1-loss record against left-handed starting pitchers is 12 wins and 15 losses.
Well, you think Ricky Henderson might have some effect on altering that?
Yeah.
Fly ball center field. Bernie Williams. 2 gone. So Ricky Henderson, who singled to open the first and was left stranded, has singled to open the third, is still there with 2 outs. And now Jimmy Key must work to Joe Carter.
Yeah, Ricky's been almost frozen in his spot at first base against Key. If he's going to go, he's probably going to try and guess on first move. For Stanley threw Ricky out yesterday. Noakes didn't quite have the quickness.
Carter with a pop-up. Will it stay playable? Noakes. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Matt Noakes in that corner between the dugout railing and the stands grabbed that pop foul off the bat of Joe Carter. That's quite a play for Matt Noakes here to get the final out in the third.
Yeah, get that cleanup hitter out of there.
A big out. Bottom of the third coming. Toronto 1, Yankees 1. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Finnegan's. During Finnegan's Backyard Barbecue, get free tumbleweed twister onions with 2 barbecue meals until September 6th. Yankees tied with the Blue Jays 1-1 as we enter the bottom of the third. And the top of the order, Wade Boggs leads off against Juan Guzman. Boggs nothing out of 1. Takes the pitch upstairs. He is one of 4 strikeouts posted by Guzman. The first time through the Yankee lineup for the Toronto right-hander.
Did you see Guzman's last warm-up pitch? An old pitcher's trick that Boggs didn't let him get away with it. He bounced, he short out the last pitch to Borders, who threw it to second, and Boggs saw it and made him throw the ball out in case he had a scuff on it.
Devon White settling under this one at left center. 1 out.
Magic Juan.
Ooh.
Pretty clever, huh?
Yep, they're keeping track of his strikeouts. 4.
I'm glad you thought of that and gave that young fella a little bone mott. They pay attention. They got the transistor up to listen to what you're saying.
Here's Deion James. One strike. James singled and scored the Yankee run in the first inning. Deion is 12 out of his last 21.
Yeah, that single came on a 0-2 pitch where he just put it in play and he found a gap. The more you see Deion hit, the more impressed you are with him. The more playing time he gets, the more he has a feel for hitting. And he was playing sporadically last year. You've noticed a difference in average. He's getting so much more playing time now, and his stroke is so much smoother.
This one off the plate in.
I think all the extra batting practice you want are off the tee, but if you don't see live stuff, hard stuff, and change of speeds, it's tough.
And he could always hit.
Yeah.
Coming up through the Milwaukee Brewers system. Into center field, and that ball going to fall in front of Devon White. So another hit for Deion James. He is 2 for 2 this afternoon. Well, James saw that little 5-game hitting streak snapped last night, but back with 2 hits today.
And a big part of Dion's game is spreading the defense out. Hits one to left center, then this he flares to the right center alley.
Here's Don Mattingly. Mattingly doubled home the Yankee run on the first.
You know, I think a big part of Don Mattingly's success also has been having 2 left-handers in front of him. Boggs has gotten on base since the All-Star break. Dion when he's in the second slot, and so many times a smart hitter like Mattingly will watch how the pitching pattern is to the 2 prior hitters. And with 2 left-handed hitters before him, Boggs and James, he's got a little bit of idea of what might be coming.
He swings and it's one back into right field. Carter back on the track and leaps. That
Somebody
ball
hit him.
is gone. Don Mattingly has hit it out to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead. Mattingly's 11th home run of the year. The Yankees a 3-1 lead. The crowd on its feet.
They want Don to come out.
Andy Tarnable takes the pitch high, and here's the home run pitch and the swing.
That may have been a slider, Dwayne. Carter goes back. For a while, I thought he was going to argue fan interference, but no fan reached out into the field of play. Joe Brinkman, the first base umper, was right on out there, seeing what would happen. He had a shot, and it bellied his glove back, and then he hit the top of the fence that popped out.
That's a great shot.
Wasn't it?
Now Tarnable sends one deep to right, and Carter will have to go back on the track for this one, but he makes the catch for the out. Don Mattingly hit one out, and Tarnable made a bid to follow, but Carter had room. That shot hit by Mattingly. Carter had his glove on the ball, and it deflected over the wall for a home run, the 11th of the year for Mattingly, giving him 54 runs batted in. Now O'Neill with a bouncer down to first. Olerud will make the play unassisted to retire the side, but the Yankees up with 2 runs in the third on the Mattingly home run. Here's another look off Carter's glove and into the seats as the Yankees take a 3-1 lead after 3.
As nobody beats a long time ago.
Yankees Blue Jays chapter 4 this week, moving into the 4th inning, and quite a moment with some special looks with the camera and the frustration of Joe Carter, and with the bigness of the game and how important it is to all these people here. That was really great.
Well, to have Mattingly do it, it's almost, people say, like old times. Remember, Dion James twice has forced Guzman to pitch from the stretch with 2 fine at-bats. Get him to the stretch to Mattingly.
Yet Dion James, one of the heroes of the day, with 2 singles. He has scored both times. John Olerud starts it off for the Blue Jays. A single and a run scored. His average at .397. This one has shaped up pretty much the way you would think, with Guzman and Key on the mound. It's the one in which runs will be precious. Fouled off, 1-2.
And one of the things, if the Yankees can maintain their lead, we're still assuming that Dwayne Ward is unavailable. You know, if Toronto takes the lead over the last couple of innings, he becomes very important. I don't know how serious Ward's arm is, but he's about shut down the last few days.
Olerud, gone swinging. Strikeout number 3 for Jimmy Key.
Boy, does Key hide the ball well. He drops down a little bit, more of a sweeping curve ball. They've pitched Olerud beautifully in this series. Give him a lot of breaking balls. Ossenmacher's had a chance at him 3 times.
And while they've handled Olerud, Alomar has been a major pest. He singled in the 2nd inning, stole 3rd. He had a 4-hit game in this series. His average is at .320. There's a high fly ball to the right side. Mattingly. That's where he took a bite of popcorn last season.
It's really the time of the year when your highest paid ball players have got to come through for you. You might not make it. Mattingly certainly has started to. Alomar, you look at his numbers, 340 something over the last month.
And when you can plug those numbers into second base.
That's why you got to consider him one of the top 5 all around in the game. Back to his base stealing, defense.
We've got 2 of the best offensive second basemen in the game in this division to watch, Carlos Baerga and Roberto Alomar. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And he gets the call on the corner. 2 strikeouts to start the inning for Jimmy Key.
And Alomar knows better in this game, in the 4th game of the series, to go quietly no matter what his thoughts were. After being ejected by Joe Brinkman, as was Cito Gaston. That ball's right there. That's a perfect pitch. That is a beautiful pitcher's pitch.
A brief complaint. A lot of tension between both of these teams, really, and this umpiring crew, but we've detailed throughout this series the extra special tension that exists between Joe Brinkman and the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's Tony Fernandez.
Great change. And I thought that Cito Gaston was very candid with you in his little interview yesterday. He pulled it, but, Cito did it, he said, because I didn't go public with this.
Right.
We've had meetings with the league president. We've had meetings, and Joe apparently went public. First guy to get in the newspaper anyway. There was some lip reading going on with Cito over television.
Cito believes that Joe Brinkman's negative feeling towards the Blue Jays started when Ernie Witt wrote a book and criticized Brinkman in it.
Call him incompetent, but Ernie Witt, when he wrote it, made statements feeling that, in his mind, Joe Brinkman was incompetent before he wrote the book. He wouldn't have said it. There's Dr. Brown.
And, he doesn't want to see managers calling umpires racist, and he doesn't want to see things like that going on. Foul back.
Well, to me, it makes another statement that umpiring crews should be under one roof. National American League. You have no question at World Series time that the integrity of the game, that one umpire might favor his league over the other or react the other way. And would make it more comfortable because familiarity does breed contempt. Umpires would see each team less often if the umpiring staffs were combined.
The 1-2 pitch. Fouled off. And I said to Joe Brinkman yesterday, because he and Cito have had 2 meetings where they've tried to iron things out, and Joe thought that they did. I said, Joe, let's say that a manager thinks you're slighting his team and sits down with you one day and hands you a piece of paper and says, see here, Joe, my team is 2-13 against you. And Joe said, I'd say, you know what? I didn't know that. And what do you want me to do? Lean in your favor now because of it? I can't do it. Another 1-2 pitch with 2 out. Another foul ground out to the fan in the front row. If there are any empty seats right now, Tony, I think it's people coming from Long Island. It's hard to believe, but right when I came to the stadium this morning at about 10 o'clock, there was an overturned tractor trailer on the main entrance from Long Island, and they closed that bridge. And we just had someone go to the ticket window. The stadium is sold out. Here's a shot to center field. Bernie Williams, shades in place. Nice inning for Jimmy Key. Struck out Olerud, struck out Alomar, and made Tony Fernandez reach for that one. Back to the Bronx in a moment. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Gillette Sensor and the new Gillette series. Gillette, the best a man can get. Al Trautwig, Tony Kubek. Dwayne Staats will be back in the 6th. Full house in the Bronx. Yankees leading 3-1 on some great hitting by Deion James and Don Mattingly. The two have combined for all 3 runs. James with 2 singles and Mattingly with a double and a home run. Juan Guzman to Bernie Williams.
There are some empty seats here in the left field bleachers and in some of the corners, but you know, apparently, did they tell you it was sold out? Is that what they told our people?
We just sent someone
no
a few minutes ago.
Available?
Yeah, well, they went to the ticket office and they were told that there are no tickets. So you've got a few no-shows perhaps, and people stuck in traffic. I mentioned the Triborough Bridge calamity. And Guzman is 0-2 on Bernie Williams. Now, Buck has pushed some of the right buttons. That's to be certain. That's one of the reasons the Yankees are here. And one of the buttons he pushed was the one that sent Bernie from the top to 6 in the batting order.
Giving Don Mattingly and Tartabull more base runners ahead of them.
Bernie is hitting .364 since the move to the 6th spot. He strikes out here. Another K for Guzman. He has 5. Key with 4. Take a look at the Nobody Beats the Wiz scoreboard right now. And of course the Yankees are interested as to what happens in the Metrodome today. Twins with the early lead in the 5th inning over Boston. And another day game on this getaway day. Cleveland leading Detroit 5-2, bottom of 2, and the Tigers are almost ready to fade to black. Now Matt Noakes. Matt had a fabulous catch over the Yankee dugout off the bat of Joe Carter to end the 3rd inning. And Tony, I don't know why I feel so strongly that he's going to jack one out of here today after watching him in batting practice. He had a really extraordinary batting practice, which not all the time, but once in a while.
Well, Matt Noakes has such great success against Roger Clemens, a power pitcher. He didn't play against Todd Stottlemyre the other day. Todd Stottlemyre not as hard to throw as Clemens or Guzman. He's a power pitcher.
Matt knew exactly to the number how many at-bats he has had in the last 5 or 6 weeks or so. He told me 13 to be exact. So every time he gets a chance to start, you know, he's got that little extra edge, that push to prove he deserves more.
You know, one thing Buck Showalter, I think, has done is, you know, he's really kept his team in focus. They lose the first 2. They come back yesterday. They got the lead today. But people say, why didn't he make a big deal of these 4 games? Yeah, they are important. But he knows he's got to go to Minnesota. This team is less than 500 on the road, even though they're 7-0 against the Twins. You know, they can throw some good pitching at you. They haven't so far this year. And then you go to Boston. I mean, you try and get too high for one series and you forget what is coming up. And I think that's one of the things I admire about Showalter. He's got him to the point where, hey, look, let's play our game. Let's play it right. Things will turn out, and it's not disastrous. And I think you got to play this way. Yeah, there are only 50-some games left. But they got to go to Cleveland yet. Cleveland's playing like heck at home. And they got a lot of places like Texas, Chicago. And these are quality teams with better pitching in some cases than this Toronto team's got.
Yeah, their bullpen is definitely one of their weaknesses. Matt Noakes was the 6th strikeout for Guzman.
You know, I think for a young manager like Buck, that's an extraordinary quality. To be able, especially with the pressures in New York and especially with the pressures in this organization from upstairs.
Yes.
You know, he has tried to keep his level ahead, and that reflects in the clubhouse.
And he's gotten all the players to buy into it. And if you can really convince yourself that it isn't as important as a lot of people would make it out to be, then if you sweep, you're not overconfident when it's over. And if you get swept, it's okay.
His focus is playing the game right. And, you know, I think that takes care of a lot of things, don't you?
Yep.
I mean, I win every time, but you got a heck of a lot better chance.
It's a high fly ball. Borders may have it. Yes, he does. Pat Borders makes the grab. That's an easy inning for Juan Guzman. He and Jimmy Key trade easy innings in this 4th. We'll head to the 5th. The Yankees still up by 2 here at Yankee Stadium. Yankees take to the road, but when they come back on the 13th, 14th, and 15th, they'll be back in the American League East race. The Baltimore Orioles in town, Tickets available at the Yankee Stadium ticket window and Yankee Clubhouse stores, the two of them in Manhattan. Ed Sprague starts it off for the Toronto Blue Jays. Grounded to short his first time up. It's got to be an interesting time in the Sprague household. A year ago at this time, the Olympics in Barcelona were the focus of the world. And his wife was winning a gold medal in the Olympics in synchronized swimming.
And he was hitting home runs to win postseason games.
Well, he was still wondering about whether he was going to be on the roster when the season ended a year ago. He grounds out to Don Mattingly for the first out.
Talking about that Baltimore series, the Orioles, Johnny Oates got their hard-thrown left-hander Arthur Rhodes back. It'll be interesting to see if Mike Mussina, really the ace of their staff, is back with some arm problems by that series. He becomes very important in this race, I think. Mussina can just blow people away. He's a terrific-looking young pitcher.
Beautiful pitch by Jimmy Key. He had Pat Borders completely fooled. Strike one. Strike two. Tony, how fast is that first pitch going?
You know, Jimmy Key on the, well, probably in the Yankees gun, which is the faster gun, you'll get in the high 80s. So you get the regular gun, what they call the accurate gun, which picks up out of the hand, you may be 85, 86. But that had nothing to do with it. It's, again, the location, which he's so great at, control,
well, I mean,
change of speeds, and he's got terrific deception to his delivery.
I'm talking about the first pitch to Borders. I mean, it looked like it was 60 miles an hour.
Could have been. Remember, Dal Alston, who had to see a otolaryngologist the other day, getting hit on the side of the face with that, I think it was a line drive the other day.
He saw a what? A who?
You know, those eye, ear, nose, and throat guys.
What was the name you used?
You know, an otolaryngologist? Dr. Key.
Oh. Borders gets underneath this one. Gallego charging out, says he's got it. And he's true to his word. Pat Borders flies out to Mike Gallego at short.
Well, you'd think that Pat Borders, who caught Jimmy Key last year, World Series time, playoffs during the season, would be able to figure him out. But now with the Jimmy Key, he throws such a variety at you and changes speed so well.
As you can tell from the background noise, Rickey Henderson has stepped into the batter's box. Now, Rickey, as the leadoff hitter, has been doing his job, but Jimmy Key's been able to handle everyone after him to prevent him from scoring. He has singled both times, leading off the first and the third.
So I think Jimmy ought to throw him, come out of with a new pitch against a guy like this Yankee. You throw him the old Ephus pitch, or the Fowley floater that Steve Hamilton did, or the lob that LaRoche threw. Just lob it up and see what Rickey does with it.
That sounds like too humorous a pitch for Jimmy Key.
There's a slow curve. Not quite.
That was in the neighborhood, though.
Remember up in Fenway, one World Series, Bill Lee, the spaceman, threw that big lollipop to Tony Perez. It was about like that. And Tony hit it on Lansdowne Avenue.
1-1.
I mean, you do. You get inventive. I mean, there are guys, Juan Marichal was talking to then his son-in-law, Jose Rio, and he couldn't get a guy. He said, invent something out on the mound. Invent something.
Just grab the ball a different way, spin your wrist the other way, and see what happens.
They got the shift down for Rickey. They are daring him to go the other way with Pat Kelly on the third base side.
And only Don Mattingly right in the middle of first and second.
Rickey's hitting ahead in the count again.
3-1 pitch. Ground ball, and the shift works. Pat Kelly on the other side of second throws out Rickey Henderson. Jimmy Key is on a roll. Jimmy Key is on a roll. 3-1 Yankees. They lead it heading to the bottom of the fifth on MSG. In support of the Midas Safe Baby program, for each home run hit in August, Midas will donate a Century car seat to a New York area hospital on behalf of the New York Yankee wives. Midas reminds everyone to play it safe and buckle up. And as a result of Don Mattingly's home run, the Yankees have a lead, and another baby car seat is on the way to some child who will be a little bit safer tomorrow as a result of what Don Mattingly did to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead. Pat Kelly watches that Juan Guzman pitch outside for ball one.
Remember early in the ballgame when Mattingly was up for his first time, and Tartabull was talking to him, and then Buck Showalter. He'd been asking for the ball off Guzman again. Boggs did the first bat last week. Kelly did this time. McClellan threw it out. I wonder if they suspect something with him. See if Buck's got a little collection in the dugout here. I mean, he throws that pitch that just drops out of sight. Some call it a forkball. Some say it's a change.
He's got some experienced eyes that have watched Guzman pitch today. You know, if Don Mattingly or Wade Boggs or Danny Tarble comes back to the dugout and says, you know, those balls are breaking an awful lot. You've got to respect it.
Well, sometimes it might just be the liveliness of this kid's arm. I mean, he's got a great arm.
2-1 to Kelly. As for as great stuff as Guzman has, he's been battling a weird stretch of no decisions with a few losses sprinkled in.
We talked about this earlier. The games he started, he's kept them in so many games. They've gone 17-5 when he started a ball game.
The 3-1 pitch to Pat Kelly.
And Guzman's important because Stoudemire's struggled off and on. He had the 4-0 ball game in the first game here. But, you know, Dave Stewart with age and Jack Morris with age, you say, well, they're veterans, they can get you through. But how much do their arms have left? And maybe more important, if Dwayne Ward, their closer, continues to have arm problems. The starters may be pushed a little bit farther, which could be disastrous at this time of the season. What, he called a strike? No, he didn't.
I think there was a...
What was that?
Pat Kelly lost track of the count. This is ball 4. I guess, you know, Pat wanted so desperately to swing the bat, he figured he'd hang around for ball 5.
I think Pat thought that was a strike. That's what I think.
Well, but then he would have been struck out. If he was a strike, he would have walked to the dugout.
He wasn't certain which direction he should go, first base or the dugout.
Buck's got a look on his face as if to say, what do you think happened?
Well, if they don't go down here, I don't know how we should. If Pat Kelly can pick one of those weird pitches, forkball, changeup, whatever, or slider in the dirt, this guy's thrown 19 wild pitches, and if he bounces one, Pat Kelly's secondary lead becomes very important.
Wade Boggs is 0 for 2 today, but look at what he's done in the series. 7 of 15. Average above 300 again. Pat Kelly with the always dangerous leadoff walk. Nobody out, bottom of the 5th. Yankees lead the Jays 3-1. Looking for the series split. Wade's got the stick-on eye black. Peel it off, stick it on.
You see some of the guys like Ricky.
I'm surprised
Wade. Glasses.
I'm surprised Wade goes for the stick-on stuff,
really?
As opposed to the real manly man wipe-on eye black.
You know, this game means either you're 3 games out or 1 game out. Yesterday's win obviously is very important. You don't face Toronto till what? Way in September in their yard.
No, they don't even come back to the stadium, which after this 4-game series is really a shame. Boggs right at Fernandez, a brief bobble, and he gets it to second just in time.
That got a lot of meat. That did not get all of Tony Fernandez's glove. It got his bare hand. I mean, Wade hits this ball right on the nose, and one of those sinkers. Tony Fernandez did stay in front of it and smother it. The overspin eats him up. Couldn't turn 2.
Just beating the slide of Pat Kelly. So Boggs is on the fielder's choice. 1 out for Dion James.
One thing he did was eliminate the fast base runner, Pat Kelly.
Dion's batting average is now .344. He has singled twice and scored both times, driven in by Don Mattingly, who is on deck. James at Olerud, the low scoop looking for 2. And the throw back to Olerud is late.
Tony Fernandez just flipped the ball with Boggs coming on hard, and it keeps the inning alive. Olerud takes a little bit of time. Tony will not put a lot on the throw, and Olerud's sitting there waiting and not getting anything on it. It keeps the inning alive for Mattingly.
And Donnie gets a standing ovation from many here at the stadium. He is 2 for 2. He's driven in all the runs with a double and a home run. The home run just making it over the right field wall. And I mean just. Off the glove of Joe Carter.
That was kind of a knock on Tony Fernandez who was with the Mets. He wasn't throwing the ball well. He has shown in this series he's come over the top on some balls from the hole. But just that flat-footed flip, and Dion beat it out. Forces Guzman to go to an extra hitter this inning.
And Donnie watches this one sail into the glove of Tony Fernandez. So for the first time in the game, the Dion James-Don Mattingly combination does not work. Yankees head to the 6th, up 3-1. Dwayne will be back with Tony in a moment.
Remember, when you're having good times with good friends, drink responsibly, because friends know when to say when. A reminder from your friends at Budweiser. 3-1 Yankees. Dwayne Stats has hot-footed his way back from the hot dog stand, and Al Trotwell gets taken his beeline to the hot dog stand. Did you have it with the works?
Oh, of course. Are you kidding? Ballpark hot dogs with the works.
Good hot dogs here?
Oh, yeah.
Comparable to the brats with sauerkraut and the red sauce in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, you can get the not exactly a brat, but that sausage here is not bad either.
Oh, all right.
That sweet sausage, pretty good.
Jimmy Key will face the switch hitter. Brilliant center fielder Devon White leading off the 6th. 3-1 Yankees. He starts in with the breaking ball strike. White struck out on a fastball in the first, flied to right field in the 3rd. He'll be followed by the DH Molitor and then Joe Carter. Where'd that get him? Wow. It sounded like it hit his bat. Jimmy Key is wondering if it didn't get the knob.
Yep.
He hardly moved.
That's White. That ball coming in, it certainly sounded as if it hit the bat, but perhaps got that batting glove.
Okay, Buck's going to
Buck
argue.
Showalter out.
Did it hit
Pick
the
up
knob
that
of the bat first that makes it a foul, or did it hit the meat part of his hand first and then get part of the bat? It sounded, part of it hit the bat, I'm certain. That's foul ball, folks. That hit the knob. What do you think?
Boy, from that angle, that angle shows me that it came a lot closer to hitting the knob than I thought the first replay did. And when you hear, even up here, boy, I think it hit the knob.
It's foul ball.
Absolutely.
Jimmy Key questioned initially, and then Buck came out. And it's one of those for home plate umpire McClellan. He can't get help. He might do a little bit by sound. But it is so close, and I don't know how you can determine it. I mean, even a replay, I don't know if it was inconclusive. It looked like it hit knob first, though. Well, Devon White speeds out.
It took the second look at that replay to convince me. But the thing that put the first down in your mind was the sound.
Fastball, a little sinker to Paul Molitor, hitting in the 3rd spot, right on the outside corner. Here's another angle on the Devon White. Listen to this. I don't know. That may have been a Lawrence Leonard. What a jump he got. Here comes Noakes' throw. It is no contest. Noakes got rid of the ball in a hurry, but Devon White guessed right on Jimmy Key and just glided in.
Yeah, White's been caught only 3 times all year, and this was no contest.
So now the count to Molitor is 1 ball and 1 strike in this 3-1 ball game with the Yankees leading. Shoots the corner again with a change, misses. Count goes 2 balls and 1 strike to Paul Molitor. Is he a borderline Hall of Famer? Well, he's already a Hall of Famer, except that he has been plagued by injuries all over the last few seasons. One of the reasons Toronto did go out and get him to replace Winfield was he's played in almost every ball game. Kept him out of the field, DHing. 3-1 to Paul. That was really a mix-up. The Milwaukee Brass and Molitor, they both admitted finally that he left because there was a miscommunication. A lot of heat taken in the Milwaukee area for letting Molitor go.
Boy, he is such a great example of a hitter who can wait. There's very little wasted motion. And with men in scoring position this year, he's been pushing the 400 mark. 395.
He's got Key in the hole, 3-1. He drops a bunt down. There will be no chance for a play. First and third with nobody out. How about that? 3 balls and a strike, and Paul, I mean, if you're Wade Boggs, there's no way you can look for this. Third place hitter. How versatile is this team, Dwayne?
Well, this guy has been hitting 6th, put him into the 3rd spot, back in the 3rd spot today. And with the RBI capabilities of Joe Carter hitting behind him, Molitor has no second thoughts about bunting his way on to set up a 1st and 3rd nobody out situation.
Yeah, first of all, Devon White steals second base, removing the double play possibility. Molitor has grounded into 8, and then Paulie drops a 3-1 bunt. Joe Carter got a fastball. He pops it to the left side. Boggs could not see it. Gallegos got it. Big pitch by Key. Let's see what the result of this inning is. Big RBI man. Who gets under one?
Tony, this is what somebody might refer to as a routine pop-up. But look at the job Gallego does to stay with this. He was all over the left side of the infield. And as you pointed out, Boggs was looking for it. Couldn't find it initially, and then picked it up.
And as this season progresses, and as the Yankees go into September, and who knows, maybe early October, the Sunfield becomes even more problematic for the left side of the diamond, especially the left fielder. I mean, Dion right now is glaring in a pretty good sun. It's right now you wish that some clouds appear out of nowhere. Hitters do too. There's quite a glare. It's Olerud now with a 1-ball count. 2-0. So Key fell behind Molitor, who dropped a 3-1 bunt down. He hit Devon White leading off this inning. It almost looked like a batting practice fastball on 2-0. Now it's 2 balls and a strike to John. Olerud singled and scored the only Blue Jays run in the 2nd. Struck out on a Jimmy Key curveball in the 4th. Fastball, boy, did he move that in beneath his vest. 2-2.
Boy, there's a fine pitch right there. He got it on the corner, under the hands.
Olerud, who's such a good left field hitter, and he tries to do that more against left-handers, especially the good ones like Key, and he was frozen. Molitor back. Key looking for a ground ball. Double play to get him out of the inning. With runners at the corners and the Yankees leading by 2. Count will go full. This kid got a good eye.
Yes, he does.
I mean, how close was that?
Well, especially the last time up when Key got him on strikes with a breaking ball, got him on a curveball swinging. He took that pitch. Olerud pushing 400 overall. With men in scoring position, he's hitting better than 400.
John Olerud with 77 bases on balls. 27 of them have been intentional passes. Full count, runners at the corners. Olerud does not strike out much you would expect. Molitor to be on the move. Mattingly now with 1 out goes behind Paul Molitor. Baylor, the first base coach, alerting Molitor for a trick play. Molitor's holding. He got him. High fastball. 2 down.
Well, this is some pitching by Jimmy Key after giving up the bunt single to Molitor following the hit batsman. First and third, he pops up Carter and gets Olerud on the fastball after striking him out in the fourth on the breaking stuff.
A breaking ball pitcher who came back with a fastball to Olerud, the game's top hitter, average-wise, and threw that baby like a dart right in his blind spot up and in. Olerud protecting against the breaking ball. Roberto Alomar jumps ahead of Key 1-0. First two batters got on for the Blue Jays. Jimmy Key with a slide step, change-up. Misses to Roberto Alomar, who has singled and has struck out. 2-0. Tried to backdoor it. 3 balls, no strikes. Mattingly's 2-run home run in the third has given the Yankees a 3-1 lead. Well, it popped out of Carter's glove as he bumped into the fence.
I could give Alomar credit here to run this count to 3-0. He took that first pitch very close in off the plate. Didn't go after the change. That last pitch stayed away.
He misses. I don't know if that's a BP fastball or a changeup. 3-0. It's loaded up, and Jimmy Key, I don't know if he's starting to show signs falling behind hitters of a little wear. Calls Matt Noakes out with a switch hitter, Tony Fernandez, stepping in.
Well, Key, after making 22 pitches in the first inning, was fairly economical as the game progressed inning to inning with his pitches, and that's usually his case. But here, with the bases loaded, set to face his 6th hitter in this inning, he's going to push the 20 mark or better in pitches for the 6th inning.
Fernandez sacrificed 2 runners ahead in the second. He's also flied to center field. Key will work from the stretch with this 3-1 lead. Little extra fastball strike on the outside corner.
And he's still working over those corners. A good first pitch.
Comes in 1-1. Showalter in conference really with his hitting instructor Rick Downs to his right that was clowning it to the left. This ball will get by Mattingly. It might score 3. Fernandez slaps it in the corner. Devon White scores. Molitor scores. Here comes Alomar. The throw not in time. The Blue Jays take the lead as Fernandez heads for third on the throw. Mattingly was off the line, dove for it, and if he doesn't get it, nobody will. Looked like a pitch up in the strike zone to Fernandez, and he had a pretty good hack at it going the other way.
There it is. The pitch was up. He tried to shoot the corner, caught a little bit too much of the plate. And Fernandez into the right field corner, clearing the bases to make it 4-3 Toronto. Tony Collinger's on his way to the mound.
Jimmy Key had quite an easy 4th and 5th, both 3-up, 3-down innings. He had a string of 9 consecutive Blue Jays retired, going back to Henderson's single in the 3rd until he hit White, who stole 2nd. Molitor 3-1, dropped a bunt down. His 1st and 3rd, he popped up Carter on a high fastball, struck out Olerud on a fastball. Alomar walks, and Fernandez doubles on a pitch up. And Showalter has his bullpen up. 4-3 Toronto. With Sprague up and Fernandez on 3rd. Dwayne, I didn't hear. Did they give Tony, I know it's 3 RBIs, a double and he went to 3rd on the throw-in, or did they give him a triple?
I haven't heard the official ruling. I'm assuming it's a double and a move to 3rd. Bobby Munoz in the bullpen.
1 ball, 1 strike to Sprague. Jimmy Key was behind him, 1-0. Sprague drove in a run on the ground out. A fine play by Gallego with runners on 2nd and 3rd in the 2nd. Sprague is also grounded to Mattingly. Boggs should have it on a couple of hops. Over the Mattingly, they retire Sprague, but not before a controversial first batter where Buck argued that White got hit in the knob of the bat for a foul. McClellan ruled it a hit batsman. Blue Jays 4, Yankees 3. Hey, don't miss B.B. King, his Guitar Lucille, Buddy Guy, the Alligator All-Stars, and very special guest Eric Johnson at the Blues Music Festival 93, live at the Paramount. That's Tuesday, August 10th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available at the Garden box office and through Ticketmaster. Talking to Stanley Kay, Arthur Richmond's friend, and if you fans were able to get out here yesterday, hear that great trumpet section from Stanley Kay's 15-piece all-women's band. I'll tell you, they were great.
Yes,
Diva.
Yeah.
Oh, man, they were sensational. Guzman's first pitch foul, I think, got a play by Danny Tartable. Yeah, that group Diva, all 15-piece all-women band, are going to have a little gathering the 10th through the 15th of August at the Tavern on the Green. Well, talking about a friend, Eastman School of Jazz, Fred Stern. Some of them knew him, and Clark Terry mumbles himself.
That'll be great.
Great.
What a great atmosphere.
One strike to Tartable, with Toronto taking the lead 4-3 with 3 runs on Fernandez's triple. That's what it was scored, cleaning the bases in the 6th. 1-1 now from Guzman. Danny struck out, and he's fly to right. Two and one. You know, Dwayne, there's speculation with Melido Perez throwing in right center field with Tony Cloninger. Arms seem to be better. Who's going to pitch Sunday? Domingo John. There's Melido.
Yeah,
He said he'd be ready in a few days.
Mark Hutton might go down, and John would be here.
Chop to Fernandez. Now he charges. He throws out Tartable. First out in the bottom of the 6th. You know, my feeling is this. Domingo John pitched 5 innings coming off the groin injury, did well. It would be his day to start. But I really think that Hutton, in the cool atmosphere of the Dome, where the lighting is not quite as good as most ballparks, with his fastball, I'd give him one more shot.
Yep.
Minnesota, a strong right-handed hitting ball club, and the big Australian might do a job there.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm not saying he deserves another start because he's had 1 of 3 good outings. But the other day in the heat, it looked like it got to him. But that atmosphere there may be something for this kid, because Tony Cloninger said, hey, look, we still think he's got 5 miles per hour more on his fastball. For what reason, we don't know. Maybe still too charged up.
Sure, and you put him in that ballpark in Detroit against the Tigers, and then against this lineup.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, there've been a lot of pitchers, been around a lot of years, have some problems against those 2 lineups.
Minnesota, a little bit freer swinging ball club than Toronto or the Tigers. 1 ball, 1 strike to Paul O'Neill, who was grounded to Olerud twice in this game. Toronto's leading at 4-3. Mattingly gave the Yankees a 3-1 lead with a 2-run home run. It's got enough. He reached out. It's deep. Carter's back. It's gone. It's tied. You know, this ball club, the Blue Jays, may have awakened Paul O'Neill in the 2nd game of this series. Remember, Carter got hit, and then O'Neill got hit. 2nd game after O'Neill got hit by a pitch and hit pretty good. Boy, he had a great pitch right there. Went down and got it out over the plate. A pretty good pitch.
He turned it. That pitch was moving away from him, but out over the plate, down. And O'Neill leverages this pitch out of here. His 15th home run.
Well, after Paul got hit in the 3rd inning, the Yankees scored 4 runs in game 2 in the 3rd inning, making 3 on 5 base hits. He went 1 for 3 with an RBI. The rest of the way, he came back yesterday and got 2 big base hits, driving in 3 to perhaps make the difference. And I think a guy like this who's been through the Lou Piniella World Championship team may be awakened by this ball club.
Tony, he's still carrying with him what he calls a little souvenir. He calls it a speed bump. He's still got a little knot there where he was hit.
4-4 ball games with 1 strike on Bernie Williams make it 0-2. So the Yankees with a 2-run home run in the 3rd by Mattingly. Now a 1-out home run in the 6th by O'Neill, tying it at 4. Right field for Williams, a base hit off Guzman. With 1 out, he's on for Matt Noakes.
I'll tell you, Tony, there's a long way to go in this season. Nobody knows what's going to happen. That's the whole point of playing the schedule. But the one thing you've got to give this Yankee ball club, they have great heart. They've been a resilient club. And you might stack them up man for man against Toronto, and most people will grant you that the Blue Jays have better talent coming in. But I don't think they have any more heart than this Yankee ball club.
Resiliency is a great word, and I think part of that comes from the steady hand of Buck Showalter. And I also think the man in the front office, again, Gene Michael Versteck, who looked for a certain blend of players.
Yep.
Not just great ability. He got some guys in who are in World Championship teams or who have been to the World Series, like Boggs and Spike Owen.
And that's going to help a guy like Bernie Williams at first base. Being around those kind of players as a young player and developing the sense of what that situation should be all about.
You know, I think Buck Showalter is great at damage control. He sees things before they happen. Remember early on when Gallego was unhappy with what was going on, they had to talk, this is a foul ball off the bat of Noakes. Bernie will return.
And Tony, there have been plenty
the move
of
with Matt
opportunities.
Noakes.
You're right.
Move with Matt Noakes.
Absolutely.
You haven't heard him complain. He knows his Stanley did a good job.
Wickman goes to the bullpen, another situation that could have created a problem. And Showalter has avoided all of that, cut it off at the pass.
1 strike to Noakes. With Bernie Williams at first base in this 4-4 ball game, there is 1 down. Noakes has walked, and he was the 6th strikeout victim in the 4th for Juan Guzman. You know, Cito Gaston not very comfortable with his bullpen either. You know, you saw some of his numbers of his starting staff, but with Danny Cox has had a good year out of there for him. I don't know if that makes Danny Cox the stopper with Ward's condition, with his stiff shoulder, they are calling it. Too far inside. 1-1 to Matt. Noakes, look at what's he doing with his back, Noakes. Look at him. He had that trouble earlier. Remember the spasms?
Yep, he spent some time on the disabled list.
He's still stretching it out now. He has modified his stance again. Remember, you had that copycat stance almost like Mickey Tettleton, and he's now in a little bit more of a crouch, not as extreme as, and he says it's not back related. And I'm not sure that he can really get down. So it does not bother him catching. In fact, it helps stretch the back when he gets into his crouch. He's got a 1-1 count.
And Borders went back after a new mitt.
Yeah, you try and catch a lot of Juan Guzman pitching your webbing, because he buries it in the palm of your hand like Whitman's hard sinker. Bernie with a good lead. Driven back by Guzman. So while Tardebo may have cooled just a little bit, Paul O'Neill is picking it up in the 5th slot against right-handers. Two and one with an off-speed pitch.
Guzman is capable of throwing a lot of pitches, and some of the problems he had early in his career, he threw so many pitches, was so deep in the count. He made a lot of pitches early in this game, 48 through the first 2 innings, and then the next 3 innings he was pretty efficient getting through those.
Bernie still holding, drilled, way foul, 2-2 off the bat of Matt Noakes. Guzman's one guy they will push. Last year, one ball game, Jack Morris threw 140-some pitches. Cito Gaston went out, and Morris was ticked. He said, I want to finish. He said, things have changed. He said, now we're going to use our bullpen, although they will try and protect Todd Stottlemyre. Obviously, Dave Stewart, because of age, and he's had some arm problems. But Cito will push Juan Guzman. Well, right now, the bullpen's getting up.
Yep. Guzman last year, you will recall, in August had some problems and actually spent some time on the disabled list with some problems in the back of his right shoulder. That's Al Leiter, the left-hander, loosening now. But by the way we've seen Guzman throw in this game, there's been no residual effects from that.
Woody Williams very quickly joined Al Leiter. Williams is the right-handed pitcher. 2-2 to Matt Noakes with Bernie Williams at first. He jammed it. Borders back to the screen, as is McClellan. He can't get it. Wasn't high enough.
And Borders, I don't think, located the ball immediately. There was just a little beat, a hesitation, before he realized exactly where that ball was, and as a result, it wasn't high enough to give him an opportunity to get back there.
Sparky Anderson was talking about this kind of play in Detroit in reference to the great Hall of Famer Johnny Bench. He said, of all the years I managed Johnny, never saw him once go the wrong way or ask somebody to help out. Instinctively, he always went right to the spot. Turned the right way, and he said, boy, try and teach that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He got him. I think that was a slider. There are 2 down.
Take a look here on 2-2. The pitch down with some movement. That ball really bit almost straight down.
Yeah, you know, sometimes, I don't know if that's what that was, but sometimes Guzman, and we saw Hutton do it the other day. They overthrow start to get so much on top of it, and it almost goes more down than laterally. Some people say, hey, look, if you can, and there's some guys who actually said they can throw a backup slider, and they do it because it's more effective. Now, I don't know about that. Sometimes you just hang right up there. 2 outs, man on in 4-4 game for Mike Gallego, who struck out in the second and fouled out in the fourth. Breaking ball misses. Bernie has shown signs hitting out of the 6th spot of being more aggressive on the bases. He's got a good lead. He's going back. And with Bernie, sometimes it's not the length of the lead. Sometimes he gets way out there, but his first mover is back. You know, you watch some of these base stealers from Oakland. Another glove. Work done by Gene Tennis. So Borders gets his original glove back. Get a little web work. But you watch Ricky Henderson, Alomar, they almost try and time the delivery. They're just going, 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 and if you let them go without freezing them, they're off. That's where I think sometimes when some organizations teach a measured lead, a strict amount of lead, you know, it's a good thing. It worked for Joe Morgan. Maury Wills was different. Brock was different. Henderson's different. Breaking ball, missed again. 2-0 to Gallego.
Well, you could see, especially in Bernie's case, he has a problem accelerating, so he might be better off with just a walking lead with that momentum if he could get the timing down.
And Guzman has tried to vary the pace of his delivery. It was Gallego yesterday who got the Yankees out front with a home run with 2 outs off Dave Stewart. He still didn't throw him a fastball, even 2-0. 3-0. On deck for the Yankees, wearing Moose Skowron's number, Pat Kelly. You know, he might have to go ahead. He takes it for a strike. 3-1. Mattingly drove in the first Yankee run in the first with a double, driving home Deion James with single. James with one out, single in the third. Mattingly with a 2-run home run. Sprague, a ground out, drove in the first Blue Jays run. There goes Bernie. 3-1 pitch. So Gallego walks, putting 2 men on with 2 outs for Pat Kelly. The Blue Jays scored 3 runs on 2 base hits and hit batsman in the 6th. And now out comes Galen Cisco, but it was Paul O'Neill who tied it with a 1-out home run in the 6th. We're at 4 apiece with Cisco and Fernandez and Borders congregating at the mound. Leiter and Woody Williams should be ready.
Dave Guzman at over 100 pitches so far. And 21 in this inning. Yankees picked up that first run of the first, and he made 27 alone in the first inning.
Guzman will face Pat Kelly with 2 out and 2 outs. Pat struck out on a fastball in the 2nd. He worked Guzman for a walk in the 5th. Pat net at bat in the 2nd, swung at some fastballs up out of the zone. Both Frank Howard the last couple of years and Rick Down this year has tried to get him to lower that strike zone. You're going streaks, but against a hard throw like this, sometimes it's so difficult to lay off that pitch near the letters. There are the 2 Yankee base runners, Bernie Williams at 2nd, Mike Gallego at 1st. In the event of a base hit to the outfield, Cleve Boyer has some speed at 2nd base in Bernie Williams. And with 2 outs, Bernie can go with not just the crack of the bat, but as soon as that ball is off the bat, he can be on the move with a good jump. Once you get 2 strikes with 2 outs, as soon as the guy starts swinging, you can be off. One ball to Pat. A near capacity crowd on a terrific day for baseball. High fastball fouled back.
Pat laid off the first pitch up, but saw that one up and out over the plate a little bit. Could not resist.
You get that guy that's throwing in the near mid-90s perhaps. You know, you want to pull the trigger in a hurry, and no matter how much Rick Downs can preach, certain guys just can't. In fact, a lot of guys can't. You got to start early. One and one pitch with 2 on to Kelly. Slider strike in a perfect spot. 1-2.
Here it is. This is a good 1-1 pitch. Yep. It changed the eye level a little bit as well.
Now Pat spreads out just a little bit to try and cut his swing down and put her in play. Chokes up on the bat about 2 inches. 2-2. The leadoff hitter, Wade Boggs, on deck for the Yankees. We got a 4-4 ball game. Eastern Division, before this game started, Boston and the Yankees 2 games behind the Blue Jays. Baltimore 4, Detroit has slipped to 8.5 back. He went after a pitch out of the zone. 2-2 pitch, fastball. Kelly could not lay off pitches above the letters. So Guzman pitches out of it. We'll go to the 7th. Dwayne Staats to take you the rest of the way in a very exciting 4-4 ball game.
And a reminder for the youngsters, be sure and join New York Knicks star Tony Campbell at his All-Star Basketball minicamp starting the 9th of August, the 16th, and the 23rd. 5-day camps located at Riverbank State Park in New York, 145th Street and Riverside Drive, featuring 2 sessions a day in the morning from 8:30 until noon, and in the afternoon from 1:30 until 5. Call 212-410-5121 for information. We go on to the 7th inning. Jimmy Key makes his 100th pitch of the day and misses to Pat Borders outside ball 1.
And you can bet Tony Cloninger and Buck Showalter are watching Jimmy Key's body language as he hits that 100 pitch mark.
Foul out of play, so the count is 1-1. Key made 24 pitches in the 6th. And Fernandez with a triple up the right field line chased home 3. They give Toronto a 4-3 lead. And in the bottom half of the inning, Paul O'Neill tied it for the Yankees. Slow breaking ball in for a strike. 1-2.
They're a prettier pitch in baseball.
Oh,
Jimmy
man.
Key hang that baby out there.
Here it is.
First pitch fastball. Big hook.
Key has struck out 5 and walked 1. Borders protecting, fouls it the other way, out of play.
There are 3 guys I can think of had a tremendous influence on Jimmy Key. First, Al Widmeyer was one. But I think when they got Doyle Alexander, changing arm angles, and Mike Flanagan, a veteran who'd won Cy Young Awards, and left-hander, you know, they shared moves to first base, pitching theories, philosophies, and go on.
Strike 3 call. Well, you get a left-hander with an idea, a healthy arm, and good control. Command of some pitches, as Key has shown the Yankees this year, and it's really fun to watch.
You throw in Yankee Stadium, which is a factor, and he's been so successful here, and the acumen of Gene Michael and Buck Showalter, who saw in him more than they may have seen in a Swindell or a Drabek or a David Cone. You get a guy that's leading him on perhaps a divisional. There's still such a long way to go.
Here is Ricky Henderson.
Shift on again.
2 for 3. Yep, thrown out in the 5th inning against that shift with Pat Kelly on the shortstop side of the bag at second. A ball, no strikes the count. Here's the defensive setup with Boggs, Gallego, and Kelly all on the left side, and Mattingly alone halfway between first and second on the right side. 2-0 the count.
Jimmy Key now starting to wiggle that left elbow and arm. Could be taken as a sign of him stiffening up. Although he's had the ball down better to Borders, the first hitter in the 7th, as opposed to so many pitches up in the 6th.
Three balls, no strikes the count to Ricky Henderson.
Hanging curveball, just stayed upstairs on a 2-0 count, and the end is getting very close. Buck's hoping he can finish out this inning. That's what I'd expect.
He got the leadoff man, but is behind Ricky Henderson, who takes a little extra time, and now Key steps off the mound. Jimmy's last win on the 16th of July against Oakland. 2 losses and a no decision since then. And a strike on the edge.
How many leadoff hitters in the American League, Dwayne, do you see Jimmy Key pitching behind to in every at-bat in the game? That's respect for this guy. He becomes a power hitting threat, especially against left-handers.
And he has underlined that in his career against Key. Breaking ball, 3-1 over for a strike. So a full count. And that further punctuates the respect that Key shows Ricky Henderson. Full count. Here it is from Key. And Henderson hits a fly ball into right center. O'Neill is there. Bernie Williams over, and Bernie makes the catch. O'Neill had called it. Some great body language out there. O'Neill with his hands on his hips. Bernie coming over from center, taking charge. Took care of it for the out.
How about a great 3-1 curveball to Ricky, setting up this fastball that tied him up inside, and he hits it high, but a little bit tied up in right center. Hey, Bernie saying, Paul, isn't that my responsibility to take charge out here?
Look at Paul O'Neill. First pitch to Devon White is a strike.
Doesn't Paul have great body language?
Oh,
you know, not just
all
that
the
time, but, you know, the excitement when he got the big base hit yesterday.
Yeah, he's
when
intense.
he does make it out and hit a ball well, like the day before when he hit it to Sprague to end it, he's fun to watch.
Yep.
I mean, he's heart and soul in this race.
Ground ball to short. Gallego will scoop and fire to get Devon White. And 1, 2, 3 go the Toronto Blue Jays in the 7th. Bottom of inning 7 coming. Yankees 4, Toronto 4.
One is a great reason to buy the other.
Yankees and the Blue Jays moving into the bottom of the 7th on the Budweiser game recap. The Yankees open the scoring in the first on Mattingly's double. In the second inning, a ground ball by Ed Sprague tied it, but Don Mattingly belted a 2-run shot in the third to make it 3-1. Fernandez triple scored 3 in the 6th, but Paul O'Neill's home run in the bottom of the 6th, his 15th of the year, tied this game at 4. Another look at O'Neill, who's all set to catch that fly ball by Ricky Henderson when Bernie Williams moved in and made the grab. They're talking it over in the Yankee dugout. You got to love the way Paul plays this game.
See, if Bernie weren't so modest, he'd have the ideal line, which he's all the time. Hey, Paul, let the sure man have it. That would get silence in a hurry. It's interesting to see if the new pitcher for the Blue Jays can throw strikes in this situation.
Well, Al Leiter comes on, taking over for Juan Guzman. 108 pitches for Guzman. 6 innings, 6 hits. Gave up 4 runs, a couple of home runs, 1 to Mattingly and 1 to O'Neill. Struck out 8 and walked 3, and Al Leiter is the new pitcher.
And then Buck Showalter is going to have to make a big decision. Is he going to leave this ball game in the hands of his bullpen also as Cito Gassner, and will he push Jimmy Key another inning? He did have a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 7th.
Key to this point has made 112 pitches through 7. And Toronto will have the middle of its order due up in the 8th inning.
Buck Showalter usually will confer with Jimmy Key, and he said many times, Jimmy Key will let me know when he's had enough. Prearranged signal from the mound or with a talk in the dugout.
We'll see what the Yankees can do here in the bottom of the 7th. Wade Boggs leading off against Leiter. Boggs hitting .309 on the first pitch as a ball. Wade nothing of 3. Did reach on a fielder's choice his last time up. That was in the 5th inning. Too close inside. A 2-ball, no strike count. Now Leiter. And he's missed on the first 3 pitches.
Couldn't get 2 fastballs over, so he tried to hook him, and he missed with that also.
And he walks Boggs. So Leiter throws 4 straight bad ones. Galen Cisco looking on as the Yankees have put the leadoff man aboard in the bottom of the 7th in this tie game. And now Dion James has been announced.
Jimmy Leyritz did have a bat rattling around the batting cage and showed his face, but when Boggs got on, you now have a bunt situation. They're hoping Dion James can do it.
Quick run through the Wiz scoreboard in the National League. James 2 for 3 on the day. Moves around a bunt and puts it down. The ball is foul. Picked up immediately by Borders. And Leiter and Borders hovering over that one. And it rolled foul, and Borders picked it up immediately, so there'd be no chance that it could kick back fair.
You know, this ground is tailored this way. Buck Showalter did this a couple of years ago. Realizing his team didn't have a lot of speed, this ball curls foul. Look how close the grass is to the foul line, what makes it curl that way, which at this point makes it disadvantageous to put a perfect bunt down for Dion, but against the opposition, it's more difficult with speed teams for them to keep it fair.
Now Leiter. Leiter had made 10 starts. Earned an average over 5 as a starter. 3.33 coming out of the bullpen, and this is 13th relief appearance. 2-0 with a couple saves. On deck, Don Mattingly. One strike to count on James, who's trying to advance Boggs. And he lays off this pitch. It's up. And the count is 1-1.
This has been a trouble spot for Cito Gaston's Blue Jays. A left-hander out of the pen. We got Tony Castillo back once he was with the organization earlier. Last year they had Bob McDonald with the Tigers. Started well, didn't finish well. He's gone. Wells was down there. He's with the Tigers. You wonder what kind of factor that will be in the pennant race. Not a good balanced bullpen.
And the bunt. He gets it by everybody, and everyone's going to be safe. James got it by a charging Olerud and Leiter. And now everybody's safe.
This ball actually tied Dion James up inside. Did not want to bunt it this time. Watch what he does. It's up and in. He wanted to deaden it. He couldn't, and he catches a break as they overcharge. And really, to me, that is Al Leiter's ball, but he's a left-handed pitcher, and they have a tendency to fall off to the third base side.
But James is so hot that even when he's trying to sacrifice, he gets a base hit. He's 3 out of 4. And now Don Mattingly. Mattingly in the third, connected off Guzman, off the glove of Carter, and over the fence for a home run. Don drove in a run with a double his first time up, so he's driven home 3 of the 4 Yankee runs. And he takes one down. Nobody out with runners at first and second.
And Olerud and Sprague, especially Olerud, playing in tight, thinking that Mattingly might bunt. Well, if he did, what are they going to do with Tarnable? Walk him? Well, Olerud's playing that shallow.
Mattingly into left. Henderson toward the line to make the catch. So the runners hold at first and second, and Mattingly's the first out here in the 7th. That gives Don 2 for 4. So Mattingly, who's already driven home 3, retired in the 7th, and here's Danny Tarnable.
Little late movement on that little cut fastball from Leiter. He got Don on the end of the bat.
Tarnable, nothing out of 3. Hit the ball to the warning track in right field in the 3rd on the heels of the Mattingly home run. Leiter starts him with a strike.
Say one thing, the Blue Jays organization sure stuck with Leiter a long time through arm problems, blisters.
Way upstairs.
And lack of control a lot of times, too.
1 ball, 1 strike. Cito Gaston. It's Tarnable against Leiter. Fastball, 1-2.
He might be another guy like Guzman that you better lay off that high heat. If you can.
Tarnable behind in the count. And he drops this one over but low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boggs with a walk. James with what turned out to be a bunt single, trying to sacrifice. 1 out here. Ball 3. The count is full. Yankees 4 runs, 7 hits. The Blue Jays 4 runs, 6 hits. Leiter in relief of Guzman. to load the bases. 2 walks sandwiched around the bunt single. Galen Cisco is on his way to the mound. Paul O'Neill due up for the Yankees. And again, this crowd in the neighborhood of 50,000 on its feet. Well, O'Neill was saying that, especially in this series, the crowd has become part of the game, and it will have its impact heard here in this situation. Bottom of the 7th, tied at 4.
Cito Gaston sent Leiter out there to start the 7 to get those left-handed hitters out. 4 of the first 5. Well, he didn't get Boggs. He didn't get James. He walks Tartable. Now he's got another left-hander.
Well, he got Leiter in here. Ward is unavailable as their closer. Timlin, they've been a little concerned about, not happy with the way he's thrown the ball recently.
Danny Cox pitched a couple of innings in game 1. He could come back. He may end up being their closer now. But after the arm problems he's had, they may have to protect him a little bit too.
We've seen Castillo. He's been busy in this series as well. This game tied 4-4, and O'Neill belted his 15th home run of the year in the 6th inning. Hit a 1-1 pitch out off Guzman to pull the Yankees even. And here he is batting in the 7th with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Paul's been very aggressive on first pitches recently.
And he takes this one in the dirt, smothered by Pat Waters. Ball 1. O'Neill.
Where did he overthrow that pitch?
And a foul ball. That's going to be out of play. The count is 1-1.
Guy who began the season as a platoon hitter and basically won the right on performance to hit in all situations against lefties.
Well, he got the base hit last night off the left-hander Castillo. That chased home 2 runs. And a bouncing ball to first. Olerud will go to second out there, and the throw to first. Safe at first, and the run scores. Boggs scores to make it 5-4. O'Neill chugging down the line. Beat the return throw as Boggs scores the go-ahead run.
Twice in this ball game we've seen Tony Fernandez give it that underhanded flip throw. Olerud gets rid of it. Watch Tony. Down under with some pressure from Danny Tartable and not getting much on the ball. Not getting much on the ball. It makes it a lot closer. Look at Danny putting pressure on. Leiter gets his feet crossed up. Oh my.
Wow. Very close at first. And the Yankees take a 5-4 lead.
Guess who's at first base umpire?
Joe Brinkman.
I mean, that is just so bang bang. You saw that replay from left center field. It looked like the ball might have been, and I say might have been, in the glove before the foot hit the bag.
Here's Bernie Williams. Bernie takes one down and in. We'll take a look from this angle. We'll get a little better angle.
Foot's off the bag. Foot's off the bag. I'm not sure that's why Brinkman called it, but there was not an argument. So that's a great call by Brinkman.
Yep.
But again, that throw, almost a change up Fernandez, did not allow double play. I think we completed.
Up the right side, foul. So the count goes to 1 ball, 1 strike.
Danny Tartable played a little hardball. The bases loaded. He got a good secondary lead and pressured Fernandez at second base where he couldn't really get a lot. Look at Danny. He's right on Fernandez, upsets his timing, and then Leiter not getting over in time and finding the bag first is completely off.
Yep.
Great call by Brinkman.
Off. So that is a proper call. Great call by Joe Brinkman. The count 1 ball, 1 strike to Bernie Williams. Fastball, and the count goes to 1-2. So the Yankees leading 5-4 here in the bottom of the 7th. They tied it on O'Neill's home run in the 6th, and Paul with a fielder's choice ground ball beat the return throw back to first. As Boggs has scored the go-ahead run, James moved into third on the play. Time call. Bernie stepping out and getting time from Tim McClellan. The Yankees won last night 6-2. They're trying to pull to within a game of the Blue Jays, leading 5-4 in this game. Here it is. Ball low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's base on balls that has gotten lighter in trouble, and the patience of this Yankee team a lot different than last year. And that trick bunt play that Deion James has been working on since spring training.
Yeah, that's it. Pulled it out just at the proper time. The 2-2. Bernie fouls this one. That's going to be out of play. Bernie singled in the 6th inning. Retired way back in the 2nd on a good play by Sprague at 3rd. Well, this has been an exciting series. The last couple games especially. 2-2 the count. And Bernie missed the fastball. Leiter threw it by him, strikes him out, but the Yankees pick up the go-ahead run in the 7th and leave 2. O'Neill legging out the fielder's choice ground ball. On to the 8th with the score. 5-4 Yankees. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Exxon Supreme Gasoline. For high performance, rely on the Tiger. As we move into the 8th at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees have a 5-4 lead.
Voting's in.
That's quite a battery. Key and Stanley. Today it's Key and Noakes. And Jimmy Key back to the mound to open the 8th inning. Now Leiter gave up the run in the 7th.
His lack of control and some fielding problems didn't help him. Deion's bunt and perhaps not getting over time in the flip throw from Fernandez.
Paul Molitor, the number 3 hitter in Cito Gaston's lineup, leads off the 8th. Lifts a fly ball into short right for Paul O'Neill. 1 gone.
Interesting at bat, leading off the 8th by Molitor, a veteran. With Key, you know, they keep pitch counts on the other side too. You don't know how much he's got left. Goes out there, maybe his last inning, jump on the first pitch, hit it off the end of the bat.
Now Joe Carter is going to be the hitter. Carter hitless today, 0 for 3. And 1 out of his last 22. And this one popped up as he goes after the first pitch.
Wow.
Mattingly making the call on this one. 2 pitches and 2 outs.
Thing about it, both pitches were not pitches that you can drive. Down and away both times to Molitor and Carter. Pitches they couldn't really hit with authority.
On the Wiz scoreboard, Boston in the 8th leading Minnesota 2-1. Bob Zupsik hit a home run off Jim Deshaies. Cleveland leading Detroit 8-2. They've just started in Oakland. Seattle and the A's scoreless. The pitch to John Olerud is low, ball 1. Viola and Deshaies in that Boston-Minnesota game. A strike call. 1-1 to count. Little breaking ball. It's low. 2-1 to count to Olerud.
The great left-handers in this ballpark. Look at the defense for Olerud. Back on the outfield grass, Mattingly and Kelly. Mattingly right on the line in this 1-run game of the 8th. Great left-handers make the power hitters is the big part of the ballpark. And that's what Jimmy Key did. He pitched away to both Carter and Molitor, trying not to give Olerud a pullable pitch.
He missed away there, and the count goes to 3-1. a strike. Well, Key twice today has gotten Olerud on strikes.
Curveball in the fourth, and he pounded him inside with a fastball in the sixth.
Yep, he went 3-2 with him in the sixth, got him on the fastball. 3-2 in the eighth. And he got him again. He struck him out with a breaking ball. 3-2 curveball. Olerud out on strikes for the third time today. 1, 2, 3. Go the Blue Jays in the eighth. The Yankee eighth is coming. 5-4 New York. Jimmy Key has 8 innings under his belt this afternoon. A perfect 8th inning. He got Molitor and Carter on 2 pitches and then went 3-2 to Olerud, Tony, and struck him out for the third time today.
Again, we talked about the last time he got him, how the pitch prior to that sets it up. Remember the 3-1 pitch? He pounded him inside, then he comes back with a hook. The opposite the last time he faced Olerud. He may be done with Steve Farr.
He's made 120 pitches so far today. That's Mike Stanley getting ready to pinch hit for Matt Noakes. The high this year for Jimmy Key, 127 pitches against the Tigers at the end of June. He had one other game against the White Sox when he made 125 pitches. And now that Stanley has been announced, Cito Gaston comes out of the dugout.
He's got Woody Williams throwing and ready, the right-hander. Here comes Williams. And really, Buck suspected this could happen, but this may be partly a defensive move also to get Stanley in the ball game.
So Leiter comes on and pitches 1 inning. Gave up a hit and a run. He is the pitcher of record in this game for Toronto as the Blue Jays make a pitching change. We'll be back in a moment. Back at Yankee Stadium, bottom of the 8th, Woody Williams becomes the 3rd Toronto pitcher. The right-hander on for the 21st time, 3-0. He's facing Mike Stanley, who was announced to hit for Noakes. And the first pitch, a little close, ball 1.
They like Williams because he throws strikes. One, he does have the kind of arm that is resilient. He can come back several days in a row. And also he keeps the ball in the ballpark. Or has thus far.
2 balls, no strikes. We saw him work a third of an inning on Tuesday in the Toronto victory. The 2-0 is popped up. Olerud down from first into foul territory, makes the catch. So that's the first out. Well, a big crowd here this afternoon at Yankee Stadium. They've had a great series, not only on the field. Well, the fans haven't lost their sense of humor.
That's the borough president's emissary.
And the actual count, 52,493. 52,493. The second largest crowd of the year since opening day, when the Yankees had 56,704 here.
Looks like more like 52,500 to me.
Mike Gallego takes one low, ball 1. It's always something.
Everything in this town gets to be a big deal.
Everything's a big deal. Sure. Ground ball off his foot. The count's going to go to 1-1.
You think Woody Williams has a chance to be a sinker baller? Do you see this happen? The ball diving down and in. Mike Gallego tops it.
So Gallego going to walk that one off that front foot, down off the shin. Mike 0 for 2 with a walk, coming off 3 hits last night, including the home run. Fly ball right field. Carter backpedaling, not yet on the track, and makes the catch. 2 outs in the 8th. Yankees leading by a run. Toronto in the 9th inning due to have Alomar lead off, followed by Fernandez and Sprague. Kelly struck out, left a couple of men on in the 6th inning.
Jimmy Key showed me something. I really think that he talked Buck Showalter to sending him out that last inning, knowing the state of this Yankee bullpen. 4-4 ball game. I think he pushed himself a little bit. And that shows you, I think, the professionalism of a Jimmy Key, that he will push himself in an important game like this.
1-0 the count. Into the dirt. 2-0. Guzman for 6, Leiter for 1. Williams here in the 8th. Ball 3, 3-0. Five runs, 7 hits for the Yankees, a couple of home runs, 4 runs, 6 hits for the Blue Jays. Mattingly and O'Neill have connected today for the Yankees. And ball 4. That's the 6th walk issued by Toronto pitching.
Pat's got a couple of them.
And it gets the top of the order around to the plate for the Yankees. Wade Boggs.
You could almost see Buck Showalter's mind turning over about the move and the release time of Woody Williams with Pat Kelly on and 2 outs and Boggs up.
And the pitch is down a bit.
That may be another reason they like Woody Williams. He looks like the kind of guy with a short delivery who holds runners close.
Lifts it into left, and Ricky will have to shade his eyes from the sun and makes the catch to retire the side. Well, Jimmy Key out of the Yankee dugout and on his way to the mound to start the 9th. The Yankees are leading through 8, 5-4. Yankee Stadium, our great teamwork play by MCS Canton. Turns out to be Dion James, who was trying to sacrifice in the 7th, but bunted it by everybody and got a base hit out of that. And the Yankees turn out to score the go-ahead run in the 7th inning, 5-4. Randy Velarde has taken over in left field now for James. Mike Stanley catching, and Roberto Alomar leads off the 9th. Takes the first pitch from Jimmy Key wide for a ball. Jimmy just over 120 pitches now.
And Alomar was moved down in the 6th slot by Cito Gaffney because of his low batting average against left-handed pitchers. Jimmy Key apparently said, I can get him at least and then see where we go from there.
He has missed on the first 2 pitches to fall behind Alomar.
And a low pitch total in the 8th inning. First 2 batters swinging at the first pitch may have decided this too.
Down to third, bobbled by Boggs, but he picks it up and still makes the play. Boggs to Mattingly to get Roberto Alomar. A 2-0 pitch. Alomar hit it on the ground to Boggs, who battled it but stayed with it.
This ball is on Wade Boggs in a hurry because he's playing in tight. And one of the tips that Cleve Boyer did give Wade Boggs way back in spring training, the closer you get to the bat, the closer you want to get to the ground. You work from the ground up.
Here's Tony Fernandez, who tripled in 3 runs in the 6th inning. He's hitting .302. And a bouncer by the mound. Second base, Kelly to Mattingly. 2 gone in the 9th. That's 9 in a row. Retired by Key. And the crowd of over 50,000 looking for the final out as Ed Sprague prepares to step in against Key.
What a complete game this would be for Jimmy Key, huh?
You said it.
Wow. At this stage of the season with his inning build up.
And this one is down. Ball 1. Jimmy Key and Ed Sprague here. And a broken bat, ground ball to short. Gallegos throw, and the the victory as the Yankees win 5-4. And for Jimmy Key, win number 13. His last win was on the 16th of July when he beat Oakland 10-3. A couple of losses and a no decision. And he goes the distance to beat Toronto today 5-4.
There were people panicking all over the place when the Yankees lost the first two to the world champion Blue Jays. They were staring at being 5 games down in the East. It's now just 1 because of Jimmy Key, Paul O'Neill, Mattingly.
Well, this
what
team
a gutty complete game.
Has been resilient all year. 7 strikeouts for Jimmy Key. 3 of those, John Olerud. And here's the last out. The broken bat ground ball handled by Gallego.
And 52 fans don't want to leave. They are still standing, many of them, until the entire Yankee contingent gets in the dugout.
And a banner unveiled back of the Yankee dugout that simply says, "We can." And the Yankees did today, defeating the Toronto Blue Jays 5-4. Now the fans giving Yankees all the support they needed today, and Jimmy Key going the distance for the 4th time this year to pick up his 13th victory. Key defeating his former teammates, the Toronto Blue Jays, 5-4. Now the Yankees are 62-48, just a game back of Toronto. Back at Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees have defeated the Toronto Blue Jays on the Jeep Eagle game summary. For the Yankees, 5-7-0 with 8 left. For the Blue Jays, 4-6-0 with 4 men left. Jimmy Key picking up the victory, his 13th of the year against 4 losses. Al Leiter, the losing pitcher, 6-6. Mattingly and O'Neill hit home runs today for the Yankees. Took 2 hours and 54 minutes to play this game before a crowd of 52,493. So the 4-game attendance, 193,078. And our Savings Bank Life Insurance play of the game, Paul O'Neill in the 7th inning. A ground ball to Olerud at first. The force play at second. But Olerud, or O'Neill, I should say, beats the return throw back to first as Wade Boggs scores. And the Yankees make that 1-run hold up, defeating Toronto 5-4. That our Savings Bank Life Insurance play of the game. Yankees have defeated the Toronto Blue Jays 5-4 to earn a split in this 4-game series with the Toronto Ball Club. Now for the Yankees, it's on the road for the next week or so before returning to Yankee Stadium for an extended stay. The Yankees have pulled within 1 game of the division-leading Toronto Ball Club as Jimmy Key goes the distance for the 4th time this year, picking up his 13th win to run his record to 13-4. Right now, Al Trautwig is standing by with Deion James. Al?
All right, Dwayne, early on in this game, it was the Deion James-Don Mattingly combination that built up the 3-1 lead that the Yankees enjoyed. Started off the game with a single. Donnie doubled you in. Then you got on again with another single. Donnie homered you in. What kind of feeling was it early in the game when you knew that if you got on base, there was a good chance you were going to be driven in?
Well, it was a good feeling. It was good for Don to get us on the board early and set the crowd in a frenzy. So that excited us also as a group.
Now, Deion, you're now hitting 346. During the commercial, we were chatting about other great years that you had. You hit over 300, once with Atlanta, another time with Cleveland. Can you compare the kind of groove that you're in compared to those 2 years?
Well, no, not really. Right now, I'm in a real good groove. It's a concerted effort with Rick Downs and myself. We've been working a lot on technique, and it's paying off. So I'm very fortunate, and I'm happy just to help the team.
Can you break it down percentage-wise? How much of what you do with Rick is psychological, and how much of it is technique?
Pretty much all of it is technique and psychological. What we're doing there is just applying it into the game, from practice to the game, and it's working, so we want to stay with it.
If I had told the team before the series that you'd come out of this thing with a split, you think the Yankees would have been satisfied?
No, not really. We wanted to come out with a series win. We wanted to win 3 out of 4 or try to sweep them, but you know, we'll take 2. They came out and won the first 2 games, and our backs were against the walls, and we responded as a group. And Kamenicki pitched for well yesterday, and Jimmy Key once again came up big for us.
All right, big moment in the 7th inning when the Yankees got the go-ahead run. Now, runner at first, Wade Boggs, if I'm not mistaken. Deion James is at the plate. I want to give you an opportunity to watch the fans behind you as you run down the first baseline, and they realize, and then you realize that this bunt that you've laid down is going to go by everybody, and you're going to be safe, and everybody's going to be safe. Are you trying to do something devious?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the bunt down, to get the job done, and it's about time we got a couple of breaks, because early on in this series...
Now they're realizing it, you see them?
Yeah, it was a big turning point in the game, and we, luckily for us, we got a run out of it and turned out to be a game-winning run.
Deion, is the pressure such that you can't fully enjoy it, or with all the obstacles that you've had to come with the elbow surgery and everything, is this one of those things where you sit back and really take it all in? Are you sniffing the roses along the way?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. This is the first time in my career that I've ever played a meaningful game in August, so I'm enjoying this. I just hope it continues, and the team, and I hope the city enjoys all this, and hopefully we can do something great for them.
And one of the things that the Yankees wanted to do with the Blue Jays, and the players that I spoke to, I didn't have the specific conversation with you, is show Toronto that there's something to be afraid of on the other side of the field. And they practically have owned this team since 1984. In these last 2 games, have you shown them that?
Well, I think that they realize that we're out there. They can't throw their gloves out there and beat the New York Yankees. So we won these last 2 games. They won the first 2, but they weren't easy games. They weren't easy wins for them. So they know that we're around. You know, they might have had some good luck against us, but you know, if we come out and play consistent baseball, crazy things happen.
All right, Deion, it's getaway day. Go take a shower and head for Minnesota. We'll be back on the post-game report with highlights, Michael Kay's clubhouse report, and more. Dwayne Staats will wrap our game coverage up in a moment.
Yankees tied this game in the 6th inning on Paul O'Neill's 15th home run of the year, and scored what turned out to be the game-winning run in the 7th inning on a fielder's choice ground ball off the bat of Paul O'Neill. So the Yankees win 5-4 and remain in 3rd place. Boston won, so the Yankees percentage points back of Boston, but both the Red Sox and the Yankees just a game behind the Toronto Blue Jays. And Tony, is the Yankees got heroics out of Don Mattingly today and Paul O'Neill again. All of that notwithstanding, it seems that it always goes back to pitching, and the Yankees down 2-0 in this series. Got a great effort last night from Scott Kamenicki, and a superb effort this afternoon from Jimmy Key.
Yeah, I think I was surprised. I don't know if you were, that Jimmy Key finished the ball game, and he finished strong, retiring 10 consecutive Blue Jays at the end. But when he got to the 6th, and he had a little bit of a rough 6th, started off with that controversial call when Devon White was awarded first base, but he got through that. He came back. I'm sure Buck Showalter used the barometer of Jimmy Key, and Jimmy says, hey, I can do it. But you're right, there's some statements made. I really think good players at this time of the year make statements. The really exceptional players make statements early, and Don Mattingly did that early, his first 2 at-bats. Yep. He had a tough pitch with Deion James going after Koosman came out with really good stuff. He struck out Boggs. You don't strike out Boggs very often, and yet Buck Showalter made a statement, we can hit your fastball, and he started Deion. Mattingly hit it, and then he hit it again a couple of innings later.
And you don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of months, but watching this ball club all year, you can't help but like this Yankee club.
Well, and you know, they still got to get over the hump of winning on the road. Yeah, they've beaten up on Minnesota pretty badly when they were down and out. They're going to go to Minnesota with a 7-0 lead in the series thus far, but they got to go to the Dome and then go to Boston. And it looks like a team now that is starting to put things together with the bats. When Danny Tartabull gets silent, they try and pitch around him. Mattingly hits in front of him, and O'Neill behind him. That home run that he hit, tied it. You can't win unless you tie it, and O'Neill came through again.
So the Yankees finished this 7-game homestand, 4 wins and 3 losses this afternoon. They have beaten the Toronto Blue Jays. The final, Yankees 5 and Toronto 4. Coming up next, the postgame with Al Trautwig. We'll be with you on Saturday from Minnesota when the Yankees take on the Twins, starting with Yankee Scorecard at 7:30. New York Yankees baseball has been brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By your neighborhood 7-Eleven store. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. And by the NIDEX Yellow Pages. It's surprising what the ads can tell you. Now for Tony Kubek, this is Dwayne Stats from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx saying so long, everyone, and reminding you the post-game report is next.
Why did her...
Yankee Stadium is now empty, but there were better than 52,000 here today, just short of 200,000 through the 4 games of this series that captivated the baseball imagination of this city. Yankees win 5-4, clinging on to victory for Jimmy Key, who is now 13-4 with his 4th complete game. Al Leiter took the loss in relief of Juan Guzman. Well, this was a great baseball game to watch here in the Bronx today. All the elements working, great weather, crowd that was really into it, an important game, 2 starring pitchers, and it came down to runs being as precious as you might think they would be before this one got started. Yankees got big hits from Don Mattingly, Dion James, Paul O'Neill. From start to finish, this game had the stuff that keeps you riveted. Let's go back and show you how it happened. Go all the way back and show you the scene when the stadium was full. Beautiful day, as I said, not too hot. Don Mattingly, though, he was hot when this game got going. Dion James had singled. He sends this one all the way to the wall. James would score all the way from first, and the Yankees had the 1-0 lead. Dion singled again in the 3rd, and Don Mattingly delivered him again. Watch this, off the glove of Joe Carter. It's in his glove. It's out of his glove. It's gone. For Don Mattingly, the home run, and the Yankees had the early 3-1 lead. Bases full of Jays as we jump to the 6th. Tony Fernandez goes the other way, just past Don Mattingly, and it cleared the bases, giving the Blue Jays a 4-3 lead. It stunned this crowd because Key was just cruising along. The throw at the plate was late. But the Yankees get it right back in the bottom half of the inning. Paul O'Neill tying it with 1 swing, taking Juan Guzman out to his friends in the bleachers. O'Neill's 15th, 4-4, jump to the 7th now as Paul O'Neill rounds the bases. They were full when he stepped to the box again. Why Olrud didn't go to the plate was a mystery to some of the Yankees. An extremely close play at first, went to New York. Wade Boggs scored the go-ahead run. Jimmy Key pitched his way all the way through, retiring the final 10 Jays. The last out created by Ed Sprague. Both the bat and the ball went out towards short, and this game was over. Tremendous emotion on the field and in the dugout, but now the Yankees clubhouse is quiet once again, back to the business at hand, and that is heading to Minnesota to try and solve some things out at the Metrodome. New York Yankees over the Blue Jays today, 5-4. Jimmy Key is 13-4, and the agony of having it, then losing it. Don Mattingly's on his T-shirt and Don Mattingly's home run baseball in his hand. Quite a moment for that guy. Michael Kay's report in a moment.
Would Alexis own?
It was a day that the Yankee fans in attendance will remember. More on that in a moment. First, the Nobody Beats the Wiz American League scoreboard. Frank Viola holds on to beat Minnesota as the Red Sox win the same way the Yankees did, by a run. Cleveland over Detroit, top of the 9th inning, 8-2. A bases-loaded triple by Wayne Kirby in the 2nd, and a 2-run home run by Paul Sorrento. Elsewhere in the American League, Oakland leading Seattle 1-0 in the 4th. Kansas City leading California 1-0 in the 1st. Tonight, Milwaukee visits Baltimore, and Chicago is at Texas. In the National League, the Mets had a 9-1 lead. The highlight, a grand slam by Jeremy Burnitz. But now look at it. Up in Montreal, it's tied at 9 in the 7th. Cincinnati over Colorado, 11-4. Jose Urijo gets the win. He's 10-5. Bottom of the 9th inning, Los Angeles leading Houston 5-1. In the 8th, Pittsburgh up over Chicago by 2. And in the 2nd, San Francisco leads San Diego 3-0. Tonight, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Florida, St. Louis. That's the story right now as it stands in baseball. The Yankees post-game report is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. One more look at the line for the Yankees. Jimmy Key scattering 6 hits, getting his 4th complete game, 5-4. Al Leiter takes the loss in relief. And now joining me from the Yankee locker room is Michael Kay. Let's start things off with the one sentence you heard from Don Mattingly as the team came off the field. Pretty emotionally charged, I thought.
Well, they're all pumped. They just split with the first-place Jays, defending world champions. And the first thing Mattingly says as he's walking with Buck Showalter up the runway is, who's pitching for Minnesota this weekend?
That wasn't exactly my question at the moment, but that shows what he's thinking about.
Well, the answer is Tapani, Guardado, and Banks. And he was talking at the table in the middle of the clubhouse, and he said, you know, we've got to focus. You know, there's going to be a little bit of a letdown naturally, all these fans, and then we go to Minnesota, which is kind of out of it. He said, we're going to have a little talk before the game. Just keep everybody focused and know where we're going.
All right, Jimmy Key's heavily icing down. That prevents a visit to the post-game show, I think. So why don't you tell us some of the things he's been talking about in there?
Well, he said that it was the type of outing he really needed. He was really antsy. You know, he hadn't won since July 17th, I believe. He said he would have much rather pitched the first game of the series as you're sitting there, you're watching.
That's a good point.
He said, but I really, you know, I got into it, and it's a tough lineup, but I thought I did handle it as well as I could. And he was kind of out of gas after the 7th inning. And Buck said, well, how you doing? And Jimmy Key said, I'm all right, which usually means, you know, I'd like to come out. And Buck says, well, we need you, we need you to just give me the 8th. And
we really need you, Jim.
The 8th was only 7 pitches.
Yeah.
So then Buck said, you know, Alomar and Fernandez are coming in the 9th inning, and we like to turn them around to the right side. So can you give us the 9th? And he says, yeah, I'll give you the 9th. And it turned out to be a pretty easy 9th.
Well, they've been leaning on him all season, but so far Jimmy Key has been able to stand up to it. Let's talk for a moment about Jimmy Key's vision of John Olerud, who struck out on his birthday 3 times. That's only the 2nd time this season. Prior to this season, he had 5 games with 3 strikeouts. He really doesn't seem comfortable, at least the John Olerud we've seen in this series.
Well, Key made some great pitches right there. He swings through it, Olerud does, and usually he's getting them with either a curveball away or a fastball up and in. That one is the curveball away, and kind of a tailing fastball, really, not so much a curve. And Key was just, you know, phenomenal the way he was locating. You know, with Jimmy Key, pitching's like real estate. Location, location, location. He's great with the way he can spot the ball.
Can you tell Mike just bought a house?
Well, I thought that Key was really telling when he said Olerud is not swinging the bat as he did earlier in the year. He seems to be swinging and missing a lot, which he didn't do earlier in the year. He said it's inevitable that you're going to go in a slump because nobody could be as hot as he was all year.
In 5 seconds, is Melito going to pitch Sunday?
He thinks so.
He thinks so.
He thinks so. He threw today. He'll throw again in Minneapolis off the rubber tomorrow, and he'll go on Sunday, which would eliminate Hutton.
All right, Don Mattingly said the big hit of the game was the one that got them right back in it after the Blue Jays had jumped in front 4-3. Paul O'Neill tied it up with one big swing off of Juan Guzman. Paul O'Neill's really swinging a good-looking bat. So it was the Yankees 5 and the Toronto Blue Jays 4 today in the Bronx. The series split 2 games apiece. Guests who appear with us on MSG receive a silk baseball jacket courtesy of Robert Stock. Robert Stock Sandwashed Silk. What are you waiting for? And promotional consideration given to the Regency Hotel, located on Park Avenue at 61st Street, offering exceptional service and accommodations. We'll join you next on MSG Saturday. Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. Scorecard begins our coverage Saturday at 7:30. Don Mattingly with the first 3 RBIs of the game in front of this huge crowd at the stadium. It's unfortunate that it's over for Joe Carter over the wall. Yes, the series is finished, but for these 4 days, big-time important baseball games return to New York City. And the Yankees and their fans seem to be relishing the moment. Thanks for joining us today. Good night.